Hello and welcome to Horror Culture Shiver, the show that discusses all the masterpieces and trash pieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
Sorry we're late. Late, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. Excuse me.
Yes, this episode was supposed to be released on Tuesday, but we weren't very well, and here we are on Friday. We're okay. We're okay. We're not turning into zombies. Very topical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really need to warn me about these things.
I don't even know.
I couldn't think of a response.
I don't even know what I'm going to say on myself. So, anyway,
just chatting shit.
So here we are. Triple bill episode. We haven't had one of these in a while. And I came up with this concept because it was only recently that I realised this had been done. I mean, I knew of the film's existence before, but just like, oh shit, this whole trilogy's been remade and share absolutely nothing in common. But here we are. This episode is what I would like to call Remakes of the Dead.
Yeah. Do you mean remakes of the Living Dead or Dead? For Living Dead?
I don't know. The other guy got the Living Dead rights, didn't he?
Romero did he?
Romero got the Dead rights.
Ah.
Yeah, so basically all three films we're discussing today are remakes of George A. Romero's masterpiece horror trilogy, the Trilogy of the Dead.
Mm.
So today we'll be discussing Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini, Dawn of the Dead by Zack Snyder, and Steve Miner's Day of the Dead. Yeah, anything to say?
I was just thinking when you said George A. Romero's Trilogy of the Dead, all three of those films are 5-star masterpieces.
Yeah.
They actually are.
Yeah.
Which is incredible. You don't always get that.
No, flawless. And Romero is a massively underrated horror director. Because obviously...
Underrated?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, obviously, proper horror fans know him as a legend of the genre. But what I mean by that is, most people who ask him, oh, George Romero, Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead. A lot of people don't even know of Day of the Dead. But you know what I mean? Those are his two films. But he's actually got so many good films under his belt.
It's true.
Like The Crazies, Night Riders, Monkey Shines, Two Evil Eyes, you know, Creepshow, Martin, you know, it really goes on. He's just really, really good at what he does. And that shows in the Trilogy of the Dead, you know, all released in different decades, 3 in a row. And each adapting to the times perfectly whilst breaking boundaries and reinventing the genre. You know, Night of the Living Dead changed the face of horror as we know it. You know, we wouldn't be where we are now of horror if it wasn't for Night of the Living Dead. Dawn of the Dead, you know, with its social commentary and the way it did things, also broke boundaries. And even Day of the Dead, you know, for a film to go as extreme as it does with its gore and, again, the political commentary, they're all milestones in horror for different reasons. And they're all fantastic. But we're here today to talk about the slightly less good versions of those films. But starting off on a high with Night of the Living Dead from 1990, directed by Tom Savini. Yes, that horror legend, Tom Savini, who also directed segments of Dead Time Stories and The Theatre Bazaar. And also did episodes of Tales from the Dark Side, Creepshow, and Flicker. He has a Nightmare City remake in production and Death Island in development, which makes me really happy because this film's really fucking good. Spoiler alert, this is really good, and he's a great director. But, I mean, sadly, the production was not easy for him. He described it as the worst nightmare of his life because only 40% of his ideas made it into the final film.
Oh, okay.
It was written by George Romero himself. You know, he wrote the new screenplay for this film, also based on his screenplay and the screenplay by John A. Russo, who also wrote The Booby Hatch. Have you heard of The Booby Hatch?
I haven't, no.
I heard the horror show discuss this. I think it's very much one of those typical 70s sex comedies, but with the Romero regulars.
Oh, okay.
So I think it could be worth a watch. The Devil and Sam Silverstein, Return of the Living Dead, of course. The other sequel to Night of the Living Dead. The Majorettes, Heartstopper, not that Heartstopper. Voodoo Dawn, Santa Claus, CLAWS. Scream Queen's Naked Christmas.
Nice.
My Uncle John is a Zombie, etc., etc. He also directed some of those. This film was made on a budget of $4.2 million and it grossed $5.8 million worldwide. Apparently, it was poorly received when it was first released and didn't do too well at the box office. And whilst opinions are still split, the film is largely regarded nowadays as a good film in its own right and one of the better horror remakes in general. But it did make it onto Roger Ebert's most hated list.
Oh, wow.
Because he felt like Romero just made the same film a second time. That's a remake.
Yeah. I suppose this whole remake trilogy that we're talking about during today's episode kind of brings up the question, well, how close to the original should a remake be?
Yeah.
You look at something like Gus Van Sant's Psycho remake, which is literally shot for shot with some very minor changes, and the biggest criticism is why does this exist? Why have you done this shot for shot remake? But then there's other remakes that are so far removed from the original
Day of the Dead
that, you know, it's like, why have you named it this? Like, you're clearly trying to cash in, you know, and it feels like a cash grab.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I suppose you want a happy medium. You look at something like, when we talk about the best remakes of all time, you talk about John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
Which took the basic premise of The Thing from Another World and turned it into something that felt completely different. That, you know, took advantage of the time, the changing in time between the first film and, you know, the remake. So it was gorier, you know, it was, the music was better and this, that and the other and whatnot. That's a good remake.
Yeah.
It still stays true to the original.
Yeah, absolutely. Suspiria, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Blob, The Hills of Eyes, you know, they all do exactly that, and they're better off for it. We recently watched The Mummy, and you know how much better than the original is that?
The original what?
Mummy.
Oh, is it classed as a remake?
Yeah, same character names and same
is
premise.
it?
Yeah.
The original wasn't that memorable. Sorry.
Exactly, that's my... Anyway,
the remake wasn't that memorable either.
That's not true. Anyway,
apart from when his bell end fell out.
Anyway, it's time for.
What's it time for, Gary?
Do you know anyone?
Do I know anyone? Hey, I know you.
Wow, it really is a delayed episode. Starting with Tony Todd, horror legend that we know today, you know. He plays Ben in this iconic actor for an iconic character. Actually, Tony Todd's first horror film.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
I never really even considered that before looking into this film, because, I mean, when you see something like Candyman, you expect he'd been in horror films for years.
Yeah, well, 2.
Yeah. Of course, star of Candyman, The Man from Earth, The Rock, The Crow, Final Destination, Hatchet, Wishmaster, Candy Corn, The Flash TV show, Murder, She Wrote.
Yes.
The list goes on. Yeah, I love Tony Todd.
Oh, yeah, I love Tony Todd. And he seems like a genuinely nice guy.
And he also delivers one of the best performances in this film.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Patricia Tallman provides the second best performance of the film, or maybe the first. Actually, she's incredible. Plays Barbara, and you may know her from Knight Riders, Stuck on You, Army of Darkness, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Star Trek Generations, Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Voyager, Babylon 5, yes, sci-fi queen, Rebellious, Benefit of the Doubt, and many more. Tom Savini pushed hard with the producers to make Barbara the survivor and action heroine in this film.
Oh, okay.
And he's actually good friends with Patricia Tallman from college as well.
Ah.
Caroline Williams almost played Barbara.
That makes sense.
But Days of Thunder got in the way and she couldn't do it.
She was in Days of Thunder?
She was in Days of Thunder.
Was she really? What, the Nicole Kidman?
I believe so.
Was she really?
Yeah. But yeah, if we're talking about remakes improving on the original, we have a whole section to that, dedicated to that coming up. But just as a hint, you're going to be hearing us talk about Barbara a lot in this one.
Yes,
more than you'd probably hear us talk about the one in the original. Tom Towles plays Harry. He was in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, Fortress, House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, the Halloween remake, Dr. Dolittle, The Rock again, Men Don't Leave, and Dog Day Afternoon, as well as many more. And Bill Moseley is in this, another horror legend. He plays Johnny briefly. He was in, of course, Army of Darkness, the Blob remake, House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, Free From Hell, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 in 3D, Prisoners of the Ghostlands, Silent Night, Deadly Night 3, Repo, The Genetic Opera, and many, 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 many more. We watched a Q&A with Bill Moseley in person. He just seems like the nicest guy.
Yeah, he does. He's one of these actors that just seems to really enjoy what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it comes across on the screen. Oh, he hasn't got the biggest role in this film.
No, but he does a really good job of what he's got.
It's always nice to see him.
Yeah. And now it's time for our first feature presentation.
They came to pay their respects. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Show some respect.
Now they're running for their lives. And every road out...
Don't stop no matter what happens.
...is just another dead end. George Romero's all-new Night of the Living Dead. Rated R. Starts Friday, October 19th at select theaters.
So before we properly get into it, Tom Savini originally wanted to start the film in black and white and then slowly add colour as it went on.
Okay.
Which I think is a fantastic idea. But studios in 1990 were not crazy about that.
Why would he want to do that? What would be the point?
I suppose it symbolises the fact that it's remaking an older horror film and bringing it into modern day.
Well, I think
that's my take.
Maybe it would have been more interesting is if it started in colour and then went to black and white.
When it reached nighttime.
Or when it reached the sort of crescendo of, you know, the zombie taking over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. First line of dialogue in the film, of course, they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yeah.
Even though I said it in the style of Nick Frost and Shaun of the Dead, Bill Moseley delivers the hell out of this line.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this makes sense out of the context of the graveyard, though. They're just driving.
Yeah, but
he says it.
Everybody who's watching this film will know what's going on. Like, it makes sense that being
of course. It's just a little reference to the original. I do understand. We
start mid conversation basically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they're bickering, aren't they?
Yeah,
siblings. Not really a conversation.
Barbara and the ridiculously annoying Johnny visit their mother's grave in a remote Pennsylvania cemetery. During their visit, they are attacked by a zombie after what is a great initial fake out of a random old man.
Yeah, I did find that quite
so
funny.
good because you think you know what's coming. You know they've started the film, same dialogue, same setting.
Well, not the same dialogue.
Well, not the exact same.
I don't remember in the original when Johnny says, "They're horny, Barbara. They've been dead a long time."
Yes, and Barbara doesn't say, "Stop it, you're ignorant," because it didn't make sense in the original. So
no, I suppose not.
But yeah, you think you know what's coming, but then it's generally just some confused old man in the graveyard. It's like, it's one of them now. I was like, no, it's just an old man.
It's just a drunk old man.
But then it makes for a fantastic jump scare when the real zombie comes into frame.
Yeah, and Johnny's seemingly killed when he bashes his head against the graveyard. I've just realised I deliberately wrote seemingly killed because of what happened in the original.
Yeah.
But Johnny doesn't actually come back like
No,
in the original.
no, we do see him again, but he's definitely dead.
Oh, do we see him again?
Yeah, we see his corpse in the back of a truck.
Oh, of course we do. Oh, on fire.
No. We actually see him, and
Yeah.
she acknowledges him.
Oh, okay. Well, he's killed, and Barbara escapes, eventually ending up at a farmhouse. I think. Would we call it a farmhouse?
We would definitely call it a farmhouse.
Good. Just in the middle of nowhere. She's flashed. Let's be honest, she's flashed on the way there. There's a zombie who is in a suit, but half a suit. It's just the front half. So his ass is hanging out. And this is one thing about the film. There's more male nudity than there is female nudity. I mean, the original famously had the naked lady. The one naked lady. But this one we get, let's be honest, rather hairy backsides.
We do.
Front and center. And then the suit kind of slowly starts to fall down. So Barbara is flashed before being chased by the zombies.
We get another big shock before that when Barbara fights back.
Yeah.
Barbara stabs a zombie with a fucking cross. Now, anyone who's seen the original will know why that's such a shock. Barbara, who does fuck all in the original.
Yeah, let's talk about it. In 1968, Barbara was a fucking wet blanket, or whatever it's called. She was no help whatsoever. All she did was whinge and moan and act foolish, and it got her killed. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen the original. So I think there was maybe a little backlash against that.
Yeah.
Particularly it's despite, the masterpiece status, it is one thing that annoys me about the original film is Barbara.
Yeah.
She gives us nothing. And she's just a whingy bitch.
Yeah.
And she's annoying. And that is, that's how she's written, But it was nice and refreshing to see that the Barbara we get in 1990 is a lot different.
Yeah, Barbara showed up, she served cunt, and she lived. Spoiler alert. So also, speaking of stabbing and killing and stuff, it's probably a good idea to bring this up. This is originally rated X by the MPAA. The following scenes had to be cut or changed for the R rating. The close-up with the fire poker in the head of the first zombie that Barbara kills.
Right.
The gory headshot of Magruder when Barbara shoots him. The bloodier version of the scene where Barbara shoots and kills the bold zombie. Tom blowing off the zombie's head with a shotgun.
Excuse me.
And Barbara killing another zombie when she takes the gun from dead cop zombie. The special effects team intentionally kept the effects restrained as they felt that excessive gore would be disrespectful to the original film. To keep the effects realistic, they used as inspiration real autopsy, forensic pathology textbooks, and Nazi death camp footage.
Okay.
That's a choice. Surprisingly, Tom Savini not doing special effects.
No.
The ones that are included are really
busy
good.
enough.
True.
Directing the fucker.
I love the makeup in this. I love the look of the zombies. It really, really works.
Yeah, it does actually, because if there's any criticism of Dawn of the Dead, is that the zombies look a bit
like
grey. Yeah. Whereas in this one they do look more zombie-ish.
Yeah.
And then obviously in the original it's black and white, so they can get away with a little more, can't they? Black and white.
Well, Barbara sets up at this farmhouse place where she finds. Shortly after, a man named Ben arrives, and the two clear the house of the dead and begin the process of barricading the doors and windows. We get zombies killed with crowbar and fire poker.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Yeah. It's Tony Todd. That's Ben. Where am I? Sorry, I'm just a smidge lost.
So she's met Ben now.
Oh yeah. So Barbara has a moment afterwards, doesn't she?
Yeah.
but just a moment, thankfully, and she rallies quick. Ben gives her a hug, a comforting hug, which I think was quite nice. It's a nice touch that humanizes both of the characters. Ben kills a couple more of the zombies, and he himself has a moment of frustration, shedding a tear for the human life that existed before the zombies.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite nice as well. It's another criticism of the original film I may have, is that sometimes Ben comes across quite cold and, still likable, but maybe a little chilly at times in the original film.
Yeah.
I think he's a little more humanized in this one, and it's the little touches like this that help to do that. Ben gives Barbara the pep talk the 1968 Barbara needed. Basically, get your ass together, get your shit together, and fight. They try to make sense of the situation as they set about protecting the farmhouse and themselves before their hopeful rescue. So they're hoping that if they stay there long enough, someone's going to come along and save them.
Yeah.
Ben refers to it as pure hell on earth. So I feel like that's a reference to Dawn of the Dead.
I think so. Yeah.
Definitely.
They discover other survivors hiding in the cellar of the house. Harry Cooper, a selfish and argumentative husband, his wife Helen, their daughter Sarah, who was bitten by a zombie and has fallen seriously ill, and teenage lovers Tom Bittner and Judy Rose Larson. Teenage, I'm saying very loosely.
Yeah, not quite.
Whereas this film made Ben and Barbara more likable, they fucking went all out with Harry.
Yes, yeah. Harry is a grumpy, almost explicitly racist prick. Tom seems a little dopey, to be honest, and it turns out he is. Judy Rose, who I thought might be the Barbara substitute, and at times she is, to be fair. She's easily flustered and screechy.
She is.
Helen Cooper, who's basic camp queen, but her basic plot line is she's had enough of Harry's shit. And Sarah Cooper, who does not a lot and seems a lot older than
it was a little jarring.
Film. She just seemed a lot older.
Yeah, the original film, she is a child.
Yeah.
When it first showed her in the basement in this, it made me jump a little. I was like, fucking hell, why
she
so
looked
big?
Very tall.
She's fucking taller than everyone else in the film. Yeah. I mean, Helen Cooper had absolutely no right to slay this much with her fucking dressy up outfit and her pearl necklaces. Her hair's looking great. She just wanted to have a good time.
She's given me Mary Tyler Moore. She's given me Marlo Thomas.
Yeah.
And yeah, with a pearl necklace.
She just wants to have a good time, but she got a horrible husband.
She has. Well, we all make choices, and marrying him was a choice. It's just to deal with it.
Letting him come inside her was another choice she shouldn't have made. Oh Lord! Clearly, I mean, it's going to lead to her death.
Good gracious.
Use a condom. The group is divided over what their next course of action should be. Harry believes everyone should retreat to the cellar and barricade the doors to wait for the authorities. Ben thinks the cellar is a death trap and that they would be better served fortifying the house, which at least has alternative escape routes. And Barbara suggests that the group should simply leave the house on foot after she notices that the zombies are barely moving.
Yeah, and
so true.
She may be right, and turns out she is right.
Yeah.
But no one listens to her, so they start to board up the windows and doors, Harry refusing to open the door to gain access to stronger wood in the cellar. Helen wants to be more cooperative with Ben and co, and unfortunately gets a slap for her trouble. She gives some back though, don't she? Yeah. Harry is officially a piece of shit now. We already knew it anyway. Ben and Harry argue, and Judy Rose tells them about themselves, which is very Barbara 1968. Barbara 1990 changes from her English teacher skirt into trousers. Did you notice that?
She is given so much queer energy in this film, and I'm here for it.
She is. She was dressed like an English school teacher.
Yeah.
You know, she was. And she's like, well, I can't fight zombies in this full-length skirt.
So, no, I'm going to dress like Ellen Ripley. I'm going to dress like Sarah Connor. I don't give a shit.
It was a bit. And she has a denim jacket at some point. And she's... How would you describe what Patricia Tallman is giving? She's given me a little bit of Molly Ringwald.
She's given me Mia Farrow, who has absolutely had it with her shitty neighbours, and is just going to pick up a gun and deal with it.
Yeah, maybe. She's given me a bit of Wilson Phillips.
She is actually, Molly Ringwald's a good one. Yeah, actually, that is. She's got that haircut that we were discussing the other week on the podcast. That single white female haircut.
Yeah, and she's given me Mary Stuart Masterson from Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you remember Some Kind of Wonderful? Yeah. So she's given me all of that. She's given me very late 80s, early 90s denim, that haircut, that Wilson Phillips haircut.
But also Mia Farrow and Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, I can see it.
The alternative sequel that we should have got, where she's just had enough.
Oh God, yeah. God, what was the sequel called?
Look What's Happened to Rosemary's
Look What's Happened to Rosemary's Baby. Jesus Christ.
Rather would have not found out. Have you ever heard so much fucking hammering in one film?
No, I haven't. No.
It goes on for so long. Yeah. So the loud construction attracts a large mob of zombies to the farmhouse. The group devises a plan to escape using Ben's truck, which is out of fuel, by refueling at a locked gas pump a few hundred yards away. Amazing scene. Whilst they're trying to board up the windows, Mr. Magruder, who I believe was a neighbour, tries getting through, and Barbara fucking shoots him in the head, gets him on the floor, shoots him in the head, and Judy Rose is like, "You shot Mr. Magruder!" And another zombie is trying to climb through, just minding his own business, and Barbara's like, "Fuck you, you twats," and starts just constantly shooting him.
She does.
Say, "Look, does he look dead now? Does he look dead now?" And then she absolutely tells everyone about themselves for bickering.
She does.
Reads the room to Phil.
Judy Rose needs to figure out if she's a wimp or not. She needs to get it together. I mean, she looks like Meryl Streep, but she needs to make her mind up. She's either the Barbara or the Ellen Ripley. You know, you can't be a wet blanket. Harry watches the TV, where many theories are being thrown around about the zombies. This one's... What was it blamed on in the original film? Was it radioactivity or something?
I can't remember, actually. May have been.
This one, I don't think it's ever really...
It's never really explained
like
clearly.
when zombie films don't feel the need to explain why it's happening.
Yeah.
You know...
Which is something this and Dawn of the Dead both
Yeah. And does Day...
Of course it fucking does. In the last 10 minutes, all that bullshit.
The original.
Oh, no, I'm about the remakes. But yeah, no, I think the original Day of the Dead does explain it. If I remember right.
Confusingly, Harry goes to move the TV down to the cellar, or at least it looks like he is.
Yeah.
Ben takes exception to this. Obviously, they bicker. And the TV ends up falling down the stairs to the cellar.
Yeah.
Harry says, "You can't get reception in the cellar, dickhead." Then why was he looking so sneaky? So what was he actually going to do with the TV?
I have no
I was
idea.
confused. I didn't really understand that scene. So we'll forget it happened. It didn't really come back either way. As the zombie numbers grow, I think it's just a way to get rid of the TV.
Yeah.
So they don't learn about what's happening outside. As the zombie numbers grow around the farmhouse, Barbara yet again suggests that they make a run for it, and it falls on deaf ears.
Yeah. Because
Ben, Tom, and Judy Rose, they decide to get the gas from the truck after finding the keys. We get the remake recreation of Naked Lady Butt from the original.
We do.
Same angle and everything. Inside, Helen goes to save Barbara when Harry refuses. So there's a moment where Barbara's grabbed and Helen saves her when Harry's very reluctant to. And let's be honest, the plan goes tits up.
It does.
Don't know what he was thinking. Dumbass Tom shoots the gas tank when the keys don't work, causing a giant explosion that engulfs both himself and Judy Rose.
The latest in a long line of fools in podcast films who have managed to get themselves killed in explosions.
Yes. It's usually a helicopter.
I mean, thankfully Ben fell out of the truck before it got there, so
Yeah.
he didn't die at that point.
Yeah.
Such a...
So stupid.
It really is. It
It
really
is so stupid. Hilarious, but so stupid. Like, what did he think was going to happen? Back in the cellar, Helen is bitten by Sarah.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah, it takes, yeah, and the blood splashes on the trowel, doesn't it? But
Yeah.
the famous trowel from the original film isn't used as a weapon.
No, sadly not.
Harry tries to take the gun from Barbara, putting her in danger and leaving Ben locked outside with the zombies. He's left outside alone, much like Anastasia. Harry then gets the gun from Barbara, does absolutely fuck all to help anyone, and tries to shoot Ben when Ben goes to shoot Sarah when she makes an appearance from the cellar after having eaten her mother. Barbara shoots Sarah. Yes, Queen. Straight in the head, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Harry shoots Ben, and Ben shoots Harry.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, it's turned into Reservoir Dogs. Barbara leaves. Ben is forced to stay due to his injury, and Harry fucks off and hides in the attic. Barbara finds a Tom barbecue. Zombies eating his roasting corpse.
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but it was quite a funny visual, wasn't it?
Uh-huh.
And he's fucking stupid anyway, he deserves it. So yeah, but zombies get some hot food,
They do.
which must be nice. Might be a bit chilly. Ben is forced into the cellar and shoots zombie Helen. Oh.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Ben has found himself in the cellar.
Yeah.
When he was so adamant about not going to the cellar.
Mhm.
And I think it's an interesting point of the film because it kind of brings up for me the idea that his bickering with Harry has in many ways been the catalyst for him eventually ending up where he initially refused to go.
Yeah.
And he finds the real gas pump keys there and has a laugh to himself, realizing himself, like I've realized as an audience member, that the squabbles inside the house have been just as detrimental as the zombies outside.
Yeah, which is...
And if he wasn't bickering so much, they probably would have listened to Barbara, who was a voice of reason, and fucked off much earlier, and hopefully have found, safety. If they hadn't squabbled, then the TV wouldn't have gotten broken. And the TV may have given them some advice on, what was happening out there and what they could do.
Which is such an interesting take, which the original didn't really go with, the whole idea of cabin fever, of them being in there. But, I mean, with us, it obviously, in film time, they were in there for such a long time. But for us, it didn't seem so long. But it means they were all in that house together whilst all this was going on for a fair amount of time with people they'd never met before. And the fact they all started going crazy, like, gradually, apart from Barbara, who fully had the situation in hand the whole time.
Yeah.
I think it may have had a little something to do with Evil Dead being released between this and the original Night of the Living Dead. I feel like that may have played a part in it. But it's done really well. And yeah, it's gutting because obviously Ben's such a likable character, and then you just realise after all of this, no one really needed to die.
No, not really, because we then cut to Barbara, who is found quite quickly.
Yeah.
And she's saved by some... I called them vigilante zombie hunters. I wasn't really know how
countryside locals.
Yeah.
Stereotypical countryside locals, should we say. Who are just having a great time playing around with zombies and shooting them.
Yeah, she's quite disturbed by the sideshow antics of the zombie hunters making a real spectacle of killing the zombies.
Yeah, quite a powerful scene where several zombies are lynched from a tree. And this was, in fact, in the original 1968 film, but was cut because of the racial tensions gripping the country at the time. And this pays homage to that cut. But yeah, no, I think it's that one shot alone says a lot of the allegories that this and the original film were trying to go for.
Yeah. I do wish, particularly with the Harry character, because he comes across as racist. I wished maybe they were a little more explicit about that.
Yeah.
And about how, Harry's bigotry was the catalyst for a lot of the issues. Ben shouldn't just take his bullshit. Helen shouldn't just take his bullshit.
No.
He shouldn't be dishing out all this bullshit. He's so concerned, and he was so concerned with Ben and Ben taking charge and him having an issue with Ben from the get-go, which to me is racism.
Yeah.
That he was so bothered by that that it created a bigger issue inside the house than the zombies outside.
Yeah.
The calls are coming from inside the house, which I think was really interesting.
Yeah.
And I wish maybe they would have been a little more ballsy with it and just said, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
And we're going to make this maybe a little more explicit. I mean, this is my reading of the film. If it wasn't the filmmaker's intentions, then
I'm sure it was. I mean, there's always there's always a lot of debate as to whether it was intentional with the original or not, with what they do with the Ben character at the end of that, and I believe fully intentional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And zombie films, they do make for a great allegory for stuff like this, which is why it's a shame that in the great zombie boom of the late 2000s, we had so many basic ones just being thrown out there without much effort put into them whatsoever. When you have the ability to have a message in a film, and I think even without being explicit about it in this film, it's still obvious. It's still there. They should have gone a little further with it, but it's still obvious. It's never forced to the background that the fact that even a zombie apocalypse can't stop Harry being a massive racist and getting himself killed because But we're about to get to him getting himself killed.
Yes.
When Barbara goes to the farmhouse with the people that found her, she finds Ben, who is now a zombie, and he gazes at her like he has some sort of recognition, but he's shot by the locals and Sheriff McClelland.
Yes. Yeah, rest in peace, Ben. Obviously, having known the original, I did feel like if any of the characters were going to go, I felt like we were probably going to get, someone surviving. And I didn't think it was going to be Ben. And it wasn't. Do you know who else survived?
Not for long.
Harry. He appears for a little jump scare. He's not a zombie, and he's to say, "You came back."
Yeah.
To which Barbara shoots him right between the eyes.
Yeah. And tells him that he's in the one for the fire.
Yes.
And then Barbara watches the bodies burn as the film ends.
Yes.
Barbara's survival in this film is actually based on the idea that Romero wanted Barbara in the original to be the sole survivor. Not mad that didn't happen in the original, but I'm very glad it happened here.
So why did he decide in the original not to
I don't know. That isn't explained. He hasn't explained that, but
yeah, I'm glad she wasn't. You can't be that much of a wimp throughout a film and then survive.
But yeah, so Night of the Living Dead, 1990.
Night of the Living Dead, 1990. Doesn't steer too far from the original plot-wise.
No.
Except for the ending, which I think does work in a we need a final girl kind of way, but does lose some of the impact of the original. You know, this is, remember, past the slasher boom.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the final girl, this was, as far as I know, a studio film.
Yeah.
I think if the original Night of the Living Dead was a studio film, we wouldn't have gotten that ending. Studios don't like downbeat endings. I mean, everyone died in the original. Everyone died. You ain't getting a sequel out of that, are you?
No.
More graphic than the original with some really good special effects. I know Tom Savini didn't do the special effects, but you know, if he's directing a film, you know that he's going to make sure whoever's doing the special effects is the best there is.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, you know, 2 criticisms of the original film were the female representation and, you know, the sometimes cold nature of Ben, and that's something that's fixed in this one, and I'm assuming it's something that George Romero wanted to fix, which is why he, you know, wrote it the way he did.
I mean, for me, this is genuinely so close to being as good as the original. Like, it really isn't that far off. This is definitely up there as one of the best horror remakes. This is my first time watching it, and it really, I didn't expect it to be that good. I really didn't. Because, you know, with Night of the Living Dead being a public domain film, we have many spin-off sequels, remakes, this, that, the other, animated films, 3D remakes, and, you know, it's difficult to find a good one in that bunch. So the fact that, you know, Tom Savini clearly had a love for the originals, clearly good friends with Romero. Romero wrote this, you know, all of that combined makes this a hit. It's just so good.
No,
but it could have been easy for it to just be a phone-in remake of a public domain film.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So get into the awards section. We have Biggest Queen, and of course, who else is it going to go to? Of course, it's Barbara.
It is Barbara. She kills it, literally.
Yeah, the strong female lead that the original needed. Here to save the day, giving queer energy, serving cunt, and just giving us everything we need. In those outfits, should I say?
In those outfits, with that denim jacket.
Biggest gasp, I got Harry Cooper shooting Ben.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was coming. I knew someone was going to kill Ben, but when Harry did it, I was like, okay, wow, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. I put Barbara shooting Harry in the head.
Yeah.
I thought they would have went for something maybe different. I didn't think she was just outright straight away going to shoot him in the head. She did. Good on her.
Best dialogue I have, "You shot Mr. Magruder" by Judy Rose.
I have Johnny's infamous line, "They're horny, Barbara. They've been dead a long time."
And Nat's camp, I have melodramatic Helen Cooper and her fancy outfit, including pearl necklace.
I have "Don't shoot, that's Mr. Magruder." Because that's camp.
And 2 new sections for this episode. What did it do better than the original? And I know you mentioned, obviously, Barbara and Ben. Is there anything else?
No. I think they're the things that it did better.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The things that it improved on from the original.
Yeah.
There's other things that it did differently, but it didn't need improving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the effects from the original, they didn't really need improving.
No. I have got it down on mine, but only because they add more of it. And in this case, more is more, and it really works. The added violence and gore. Of course, Barbara being turned into a strong female lead. And I put the pacing as well. I thought the pacing was much better in this one.
Okay.
Now, I mean, obviously, I think the original's a 5-star classic, and this doesn't take away from that at all. But I just feel like it still has its moments of character development, but doesn't drag them on too long. It has a really smooth pace. What did it do worse than the original? I've got Sarah's coming back to life and killing her mother scene, because it just wasn't as impactful as the original. And shooting it in colour, because I think that takes away from the eerie atmosphere of the original.
I agree. I definitely agree with you on Helen Cooper's death scene. It was done way better in the original. Way better. I think some of the characterizations could have been a little better. But I don't think it did anything worse. It's difficult because obviously we're talking how many years in between?
Oh yeah,
22. So all the kind of things that it, did worse than did better than the original. The original didn't necessarily need. It just kind of spruced up different areas.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it did anything worse, really, apart from Helen Cooper. That scene just wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't as good.
And onto our ratings section, I give it 9 annoying Johnnies out of 10.
9 annoying Johnnies out of 10. I give it 9 Mr. Magruders out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash or basic. I've got close to masterpiece.
Yeah.
If it had just fixed a few things, that could have been a horror masterpiece.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's edging so close to masterpiece. It really, really, really well done.
Yeah. Which makes me excited for Savini's Nightmare City.
Okay.
Because it's, he's got a lot more control now. This is his own film,
If you gave this film 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Tom
Savini's gone on record to say that this film is only representative of 40% of his ideas.
Exactly. So can you imagine how good it'll be with all of his ideas?
Well, how do you know?
Well, we hope anyway.
How do you know that 60% wasn't what you gave 9 out of 10?
Because it's Tom Savini. I trust Tom Savini.
Tom Savini decided that Helen Cooper's death scene should be a bit shit.
I doubt that. Anyways, moving on to our next feature. It's 2004's Dawn of the Dead. Directed by Zack Snyder, who, of course, is famous for his whole Justice League situation.
Yes. Which I made the hilarious joke because we were watching the director's cut of Dawn of the Dead. I said, "Is this the Snyder cut?"
And technically, it wasn't even a joke because you were right. Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, Army of the Dead, Sucker Punch, Watchmen, 300, Legend of the Guardians. He's done music videos for My Chemical Romance, Morrissey, Rod Stewart, ZZ Top, Peter Murphy, Soul Asylum, and Lizzie Borden.
Right.
Based on the screenplay by...
It's given me...
every other remake in the 2000s.
It's given me... straight culture.
Oh, this film is straight culture in a film.
It's
108 minutes of straight culture.
It's giving me a culture that I don't necessarily understand.
Which is why it makes sense for why I enjoyed it so much.
What was that? Did we watch Batman vs Superman?
Yes.
Did we?
Yeah.
Was it good?
A bit basic. So we gave it the same rating as I gave this.
Oh, okay. Did we?
You enjoyed Justice League more though.
Yeah, that was long though, wasn't it?
It was. For me,
we watched it in parts though. I think that helped.
I like his version of Justice League. My favourite film of his though is Watchmen. Watchmen is fantastic. It is really good.
Was Justice League completely in black and white? I'm struggling to remember.
No, we watched the colour version, but there is a version all in black and white. That classic aspect ratio as well. Based on the screenplay by Romero and written by James Gunn, of all people. Of course, you will know James Gunn, writer
pedophile jokes.
It was a long time ago. He was deeply involved with trauma. Some of the homophobia in the writing for this film is slightly less forgivable.
It's weird.
Romeo and Juliet, Sliver, love Sliver, Guardians of the Galaxy, of course, the Suicide Squad. You know, he made DC. He made it good again. So,
he made DC. He made it good again.
Scooby Doo, cult classic.
Are you even gay?
Okay.
You just used the phrase, he saved DC, he made it good again.
Yeah, but that doesn't really matter because they're in dire straits again. But yeah, of course, he made that and he made Peacemaker, which we loved as well. Scooby-Doo, cult classic, Super, and lots more, but including Movie 43.
Oh no.
That fucking disaster of a film. James Gunn claims that he received a massive amount of fan backlash, including death threats, when assigned to this film, because most of the hate messages claim the hack who wrote the Scooby-Doo movies shouldn't be in charge of Dawn of the Dead. Scooby-Doo's great. How fucking dare you?
I don't remember explicitly the Scooby-Doo films. We need to rewatch them
They're gay classics now.
But wow, people are weird, aren't they?
They're so weird.
People take stuff so seriously. I understand we have a podcast on films. We like films. But fucking hell. Calm your fucking tits.
Imagine sending
It's
death
only a
threats.
film.
Imagine sending death threats to
Jesus.
someone because of the...
God.
I mean, we could do a whole series of episodes on toxic fandom, but yeah, it's fucking ridiculous. And I mean, Zack Snyder's a name associated with it. I mean, his fans pretty much, and many internet bots, bullied Warner Brothers into making his film. I mean,
I suppose so, yeah.
you know, it's fucking crazy. George Romero enjoyed this film.
Nice.
He had reservations about some elements, but he was surprisingly impressed with it.
Yeah.
Budget $26 million. It made $102.2 million worldwide. Universal slashed the film's budget quite a lot after the failure of House of the Dead, fearing there was no public appetite for zombie movies anymore, which is amusing because House of the Dead was a year before. So a year later, you had this and you had Shaun of the Dead, both of which are massive cult classics now.
Yeah.
I mean, this made more than its money back at the box office. I remember when this was first released, I remember the hype around it. And I remember seeing it when it first came out, and I remember loving it. It was when I was first getting into films properly, around that time. And I had watched this before I watched the original, sadly. And I thought it was great. I thought it was so scary. I thought it was so cool, so stylish. 2022 changes things.
Yeah, I remember it when it came out, and no one, come and arrest me. But I remember watching it illegally around a friend's house. Yeah, and I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
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 I mean, how many years later? 18 years later?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not so much.
And, I mean, the thing is, we're probably going to... Some people might be pissed off. But yeah, we've got a lot to say. A lot of people love this film, and fair play. It's not a bad film. A lot of people love this film. Like, some people have said it's better than the original.
You're entitled to your wrong opinion. I jest. I'm not here to tell anyone how to think and feel. I'm just telling you how I think and feel. Yeah. And if you enjoy something that I don't, then props to you. Yeah. It would be nice if I went the rest of my life enjoying every single film I watched. Mm-hmm. I know it's unlikely to happen, but obviously I don't sit down wanting to watch crap or basic shit. Gary makes me watch crap.
Well, that's
and
not
basic
true.
Shit.
That's not true. I did it for the course of entertainment and podcasts.
Sure.
I did it for the podcast gods.
Sure.
Do you think we might know anyone in this film?
I think we know a lot of people in this film, but oh shit! I fucked that up. I fucked it up because I've already said it once.
I'll say it again
during this episode. I've
You're gonna do it a third time as well. So
Oh, fucking hell. I can't think of any other ways to say it. Hey, I know you.
Oh, thanks. Sarah Polly.
It's what you deserve.
Sarah Polly plays Anna. She is the star of Go, My Life Without Me, The Sweet Hereafter, Splice, Existence, the David Cronenberg film, Sugar, Exotica, Pretty Kill, One Magic Christmas, The Big Town, Blue Monkey, an episode of the Friday the 13th TV series, and many more.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Sarah Polly in a film like this because she was very much a bit of an indie darling. A bit like Parker Posey.
Yeah.
In that sense, before Parker Posey was in Scream 3, which was another kind of shock, you know. Yeah. I've seen Go. I saw Go many years ago. She also directed, if I believe, a film with Julie Christie fairly recently. So yeah, but she was always known as like the indie girl. She was in all the indie films. So it was nice to see her get a bigger payday.
Even if she's playing a fucking insulting role.
Yeah, it's
strong female lead. I don't think.
It's a difficult one.
We have more to say.
Yes.
I'll give you a brief history of Ving Rhames, who plays Kenneth, mainly because we recently gave you a full history in the Piranha 3 Double D episode.
We did.
Go check it out for a full list. But Pulp Fiction, the Mission Impossible films, Jacob's Ladder, and today's third film, Day of the Dead.
Oh.
He's in both of these. Different characters. One film had a higher budget and could afford them for more, clearly. He actually went directly to the producers when he heard this film was being remade and said he wanted to be in it because the black guy lives.
Yeah.
Ving Rhames is
I really
always great.
Really like Ving Rhames. I really do. And he doesn't always have the best dialogue or the best things to do.
The best choices in roles.
Oh, best choices in roles. But his delivery, I enjoy watching Ving Rhames as an actor. I really do. I even though he was like around 3 Double D in Day of the Dead.
Mekhi, 2 half-star films. Mekhi Phifer plays Andre, and he was in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, previous podcast film, Honey, 8 Mile, ER, Love Victor, O, Shaft from 2000, Clockers, Husbands, Soul Food, Hell's Kitchen, and much more.
Yes, Mekhi Phifer of what's the Lose Yourself fame?
Yeah.
When he's name checked. Yeah, I don't remember watching any of his films when I was younger. There was a big deal made of O because there was a teen version of Othello.
I was tempted to pick it up.
No one watched it.
Well, I was tempted to pick it up from CX for £1.
Oh, you should.
I may get it next time.
With Julia Stiles,
Josh Hartnett.
Josh Hartnett, definitely.
Jake Weber plays Michael. He was in Meet Joe Black, Medium, U571, 13 Reasons Why, White House Down, The Haunting of Molly Hartley, 2 people from that on this episode. Those Who Wish Me Dead, The Sal, Close to Eden, and more.
She-Hulk, Reservoir Dogs.
She-Hulk. What? Tim Roth.
This is the one thing about what's his name, Jake Weber. One thing about Jake Weber, and it didn't annoy me. But
wait, I think you're on about Steve.
Am I on about Steve?
Which one was Steve?
No, Michael.
Fast forward in my notes.
No, Steve was the arsehole.
Electronic salesman, Michael. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. I don't know, all the white men look the same.
Yeah, it took me out a little bit that how much he looked like Tim Roth. Yeah.
Also, behind the camera, Heather Langenkamp, who played Nancy Thompson in Nightmare on Elm Street, was a member of the production crew on this film. Denise Cronenberg, sister of David Cronenberg, was the costume designer on this film.
Ooh.
Queen's behind the camera.
Yes.
And
do you know what this film could have needed?
them in
Heather Langenkamp getting in front of that camera and giving us a performance.
What, playing Dora? What was the fucking name?
Thrown out the
old queen. What's the name? That's very rude. Older
old.
Norma.
Bloody hell. Ageism on the podcast. You have my permission to cancel Gary at any time you like.
I'm sure I've said worse than I am before. For our most
That
X-rated,
doesn't help.
For our most, well, no, not in a cancel me kind of way.
Sorry, I pushed you down the stairs, but I murdered someone last week, so think yourself lucky.
As in explicit stuff. For every slip up I have something scandalous, and I'm just gonna shut up.
Please.
In front of the camera, you may recognise UK MTV host Alex Zane as a zombie, as well as MTV and MTV2 VJ Ian Robinson and members of Rue Morgue magazine, all as zombies.
I can honestly tell you, no, I didn't recognise any of those people.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of zombies in this film, a lot of characters. Anyway, it's time for our second...
I wasn't even on the lookout. I know you mentioned the Alex Zane one, but I did forget.
Time for our second...
Boredom will do that to you.
Our second feature presentation.
Is this a health hazard or a military concern?
Both.
Are these things alive or dead?
We don't know. On March 19th, how do you kill what's already dead?
Shoot him in the head. I don't see anybody.
You saw hell yesterday. Now you ready to roll?
Dawn of the Dead. Rated R. It's March 19th.
Going back slightly, it's actually quite interesting, the MTV involvement, considering this is very much... You know how The Lost Boys was a very MTV 80s film?
Yeah.
This is a very MTV 2004 film.
Yes. It's definitely of its time.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's definitely a product of 2004.
So,
definitely a product of Zack Snyder in 2004.
In the 10-minute opening sequence that I would like to call Zack Snyder's zombie film...
Yeah.
We have Anna Clark, who, after finishing a long shift as a nurse at the Milwaukee County Hospital, drives home whilst listening to Have a Nice Day by Stereophonics.
She does. Gonna have a nice day. Very 2004. Yeah, she had a long shift. The doctors would rather talk about their golfing plans. And there's one patient that was in a bar fight and was bitten, who subsequently has had to have a head x-ray and a toxicology report, which is surprising considering he was just bitten on the hand. And we all know where this is going, but I thought that was nice. I thought it was a nice bit of foreshadowing. It was interesting. It was like, oh, shit, we're right in the middle of it, like, the other ones.
Yeah, definitely.
When Anna gets home
to her perfect suburban neighborhood,
it very much
perfect
is.
husband Lewis.
What does Lewis give her?
His dick in the shower.
Yes, a good railing in the shower, which again is really surprising. I didn't think Sarah Polly would do, like, sort of. I'm assuming it's a body double.
I don't know. There's no. There's no. Don't know what happened to my voice there. There's no...
You enjoying that scene?
No
You're
trivia.
You're having flashbacks.
There's no trivia to say it's not Sarah Polly. They miss, whilst they're getting on in the shower, they miss an emergency news bulletin. The next morning...
So did I, actually. It's not in my notes.
The next morning, Vivian, a girl from the neighborhood, randomly enters their bedroom. Something Lewis does not seem surprised by.
Well, he seems more concerned for her than shocked or scared of what's going on until he sees her face, which she's only got half of.
Yeah, he's like, oh, fuck, Vivian's here.
Vivian bites Lewis.
Yes.
And Lewis loses his shit and goes after Anna.
He does. Yeah.
So Anna ends up in the bathroom, and escapes through the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, she goes through the towns and everything, through the neighborhoods, and everything has gone to shit.
Yeah, a neighbor threatens to shoot her, but gets run over by an ambulance.
Yeah, there's explosions, people being chased, people being killed, car crashes,
A nude woman,
a
just
new
randomly
woman.
strolling around.
You can tell it's there's a budget there. This
Yeah.
is despite them cutting, there is a budget there.
Yeah, you see all the explosions in the distance.
Yeah.
It's great. It's the best 10 minutes of this film.
Yeah, she eventually crashes, and then the opening credits start.
Yeah, and that's when Dawn of the Dead starts. So the way I look at it is, for me, that is like a Zack Snyder zombie short film. Those open in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It does a great job of building up the character of Anna. You know, some great character development there. We know who she is. We know her job. We know her husband, who's died, which we're sure she'll be really distraught about for the rest of the film. You know, we've already had a child fucking turn someone into a zombie. A child missing half a face. It's pretty extreme for an opening 10 minutes of the film. You know, some of the best in the 2000s. So good. Really intense. Really, really gets you going and hyped up for the rest of the film. It kind of becomes a bit basic once it becomes a Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah, it loses that momentum quite quickly.
The potential's clearly there. This is Zack Snyder's first film, and you know, and he really constructed 10 minutes of expertly executed horror, which is impressive for a first film. But yeah, and then even the opening credits, you know, we get zombies and news reports. Set to the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash. It's really good opening credits.
I feel like there was some real life news footage.
There was some,
well.
there was, which would be good if Zack Snyder had something to say. I don't think he has a thing to say in this film. The original was obviously consumerism, with touches of racism in the opening scene as well. You know, it's really clever social commentary. I don't think this has any. I really don't.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, she wakes up. She forgets that she had a husband. Joins Police Sergeant Kenneth Hall, named after Ken Foray, of course, from the original. Electronics salesman Michael Shaughnessy, petty criminal Andre, and his pregnant wife Luda.
Yes, it's weird, the sense that she kind of and I don't know if it's a deliberate thing, but it's almost like the Wizard of Oz, where they're just walking and people just sort of gather and join, and whereas in the original there's that connection still there. You know, Fran and Flyboy were in a relationship. They knew Steve. No, Flyboy was Steve.
Yeah, Ken Foray.
No. What's the other one? Well, they knew him.
It's terrible. One of my favourite films.
I know. Who was friends with the Ken Foray character? I know the actors' names. I forget. I'm terrible with characters' names. So there was that connection there, whereas there's literally no connection between these people. So it's literally like the Wizard of Oz without the song and dance numbers. It's not if I only had a brain, or if I only didn't get pregnant, this would be a lot easier. So yeah, Kenneth, a cop, Andre, Mekhi Phifer, Luda, pregnant, Michael, not Tim Roth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They break into a nearby shopping mall. Waste no time getting to that.
Oh my god, this film does not stop.
No.
Like literally, but this is literally within the span of 10 minutes. All these, she's picked up these people, and they're like, "Oh, the mall's over there." So then let's go to the mall. And break in, and that's it. And that's it for the rest of we're at the mall. Whereas with the original, and I think the original is one of the best films ever made. Fantastic. Whereas with the original, we had to know some shit first.
Yeah,
we got to know the characters, but these are just like, there's them all. Let's go.
But it's like you know who Anna is, and it's kind of like James Gunn and Zack Snyder. Like, okay, well, you know who she is. That's all you need to know. That kind of feels like what it is.
She's a nurse,
which is ridiculous.
so you'll have sympathy for her.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because all of her character development that's built up kind of doesn't really matter when she just dismisses everything that happened in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just forgotten about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, spoiler alert, for the whole film, it's like fucking Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah.
It's like, this bitch has joined the fight. This bitch has joined the fight.
It is like a
it's
competition.
Like, who the fuck?
It is like a competition to see
people?
how many characters you get on screen at the same time. It's so stupid.
The thing, I might as well say it now, because I'm going to keep bringing it up, because my biggest issue with this film, there are too many characters.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, this is not an ensemble film.
No, it didn't need to be.
If Robert Altman was directing it, I'd say go for it. But he's not. Too many fucking characters.
Yeah.
And it begins here.
Mm-hmm.
Because literally, tell me one thing about Luda that isn't she's pregnant.
Well, I can actually, because it's next in my notes. She is slightly bitten by a zombie who attacks them when they get in there.
Well, there we go. I mean her. What do you know about her?
You know what I know about her? The fact that she's Russian and her Russian accent sounds fake as fuck. It doesn't make any sense. She made some acting choices. It kind of feels like Zack Snyder only directed the men in this film.
It feels a
and
little
the women
put on.
It felt like the women were just left to do whatever the fuck they want. But hey, it's a dude bro film, so there we go. Very, very straight. 3 guards, speaking of straight, 3 guards, CJ, Bart, and Terry, slimy characters who genuinely feel like they've just came off the set of an Eli Roth or Rob Zombie film in 2004.
It's given Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
characters.
those sort of comedies from that time. It's kind of,
Paul Blart, more cop. Paul Blart, more cop.
Not quite. I think one was trying to look like him.
I've never seen that. Have you ever seen that?
Yes. Yeah.
Both of them?
Well, just the first one. That's enough. Thank you.
Should I call myself CJ? My middle name is John. Should I be CJ?
Yeah, go for it. CJ, in particular, is trying to be the Tom Savini character from the original. I feel that's what it was a homage to. Now, the Tom Savini character in the original, all of the biker gang in the original were bad guys because they were in leather, they had great facial hair, and they had machetes and motorbikes. That's all we needed to know. We knew they were bad guys. I know it's the 70s, it's a very different time, but we knew they were bad guys. We knew they were there for a bad time, for the good guys. They
were the people that didn't want to get along with other people.
Yeah.
So they in the original, shit hit the fan because of them.
Yeah.
Because they were incapable of not being dickheads.
Yeah.
And wanting to rob and steal and act foolishly. These
guys, we have to know they're unlikable. We can't be given it subtly. They show up and immediately, oh, fuck you doing? I'm going to fucking lock you up, you fucking queers. And like, it's immediate. It's like, okay, what the fuck is this? Like, they are just so immediately unlikable. Oh yeah, I'm going to hold you prisoner. Why? Why are you locking them in a fucking store? What are you doing?
Because they don't know why people are going crazy.
Yeah, but still, the way they're written, it's so ham-fisted, it's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, they're twats. They are idiots.
Bart drops the F slur later on and suggests that Terry shows Anna how to use her mouth. Why did we need that? Why do we need that?
Yeah.
The 2000s are fucking wild. Like, I genuinely, any film from 2000s, you watch it, and if you see it's got a straight right, you expect the F slur.
Yeah, there's always going to be some sort of iffy content.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
But yeah, they make them surrender their weapons in exchange for refuge. They watch the news, which includes an interview with a cop played by Tom Savini, before they split into groups to secure them all. Tom Savini's little cameo is great. He does the same, but I'm forgiving Tom Savini. Like, he shoots someone. Oh, she's a twitcher. Oh, fucking deal with her. I was like, okay, Tom Savini, We know you're not meant to be a likable cop, but we'll forgive you.
What do you mean, killer?
So yeah, that did you not get it in your notes? The zombie twitching.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I mean is, they're also doing the same thing with Tom Savini. It's like, okay, he's a cop. He's really unlikable. How can we make this unlikable? It's like, have him talk like he's not a normal cop. Have him like, oh yeah, don't give a shit.
I'll try and make him likable.
No, trying to make him unlikable. Trying too hard. Did you not think? No, I thought it were.
No, I think they were trying to make him look cool. He was doing the whole shoot him in the head thing from the original.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
Yeah, because one of them says, "Now there's one cool motherfucker."
Yeah.
They go about securing the building and painting an SOS message on the roof as the zombie population outside grows. The non-security guards are locked in a furniture store and begin to bicker. Michael thinks he's the leader, despite selling TVs for a living. Andre, it's revealed, steals TVs. And Kenneth is just looking for his brother, and he's had enough of their shit already.
There's another survivor, isn't there?
Who?
Andy. Exactly. If there's one character this film didn't need, it's fucking Andy. So on the roof, they spot Andy, who is stranded in his gun store. Seriously, I think that's all you need to know. Stranded in his gun store across the zombie-infested parking lot, and he's there holding up signs to people on the other side.
It is one thing about the original and this one. If a zombie apocalypse ever happened here in the UK, we'd be screwed. Because all these films are so reliant on guns.
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit. Okay. I mean, I've got a knife in the kid. We would be screwed. But
it sounded like you said, but you should have finished your word then. It sounded like you said, I've got a knife in the kid.
Oh, kitchen. Oh, did I? Oh, kitchen.
Not murdering children.
Can you edit that back? A knife in the kitchen.
Yeah, the film started off with a child murder. It's topical.
But zombie films are not a reason to not have gun control.
Yeah.
You cannot cite Dawn of the Dead.
I kind of hope this is a satire. I kind of, I don't know if it is.
No, it's not.
Because it really is.
Do you know what? It doesn't need to be a satire. No, it doesn't have to be a satire. It just has to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Sometimes films just have to be entertaining.
Because some of it's cringy.
If they're not just going to rehash the original film, then just be an entertaining horror action film.
Yeah.
It's okay. There's a place for that as well. But they've... Yeah, Andy.
Yeah. A broadcast from a television features a group of police officers burning the corpses of the zombies, followed by a bigoted... and they obviously tell them to shoot them in the head and, etc., etc. This is followed by a bigoted televangelist, played by star of the original Ken Foray, giving a speech...
From Kenan and Kel fame.
Yes. Giving a speech that ends with the iconic, when there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. And I'm so glad they gave this to Ken Foray.
Did you not get what he was blaming for the zombies?
Yeah, gays.
What he was blaming...
Gays and abortions.
Premarital sex, abortions, and same-sex marriage, and men lying with men.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, I still found Ken Foray very likeable.
More likeable than most of the other characters in the film. But no, this is what I mean by satire, though. Like, something like that is something you'd expect to see in a satire.
That's definitely a satire. Yeah, absolutely.
The next day, a delivery truck carrying...
Yeah, but shit like that still exists.
Oh, I know,
exactly. It wasn't too long ago that gay marriage was blamed for hurricanes.
Hey, in America, certain states in America, there let's just say it sounds like there's plans to get rid of gay marriage.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Let's not talk about Florida. But yeah, the next day, a delivery stuck. What the fuck am I talking about? a delivery truck carrying more survivors, because that's what we needed, more characters.
That's what we needed.
Enters the lot, pursued by zombies.
Because what we needed was to take a film that had 4 main characters and triple it.
Yeah, brace yourself. We now have Norma, Steve, Tucker, Monica, Glenn, Frank, and his daughter Nicole.
Yeah, so I'm going to go through them just to help you out and help me out. Steve, a smug dickhead. Norma, an older lady, but not a Karen. Nicole has red hair. Tucker wears a trucker cap. An old lady wheeled in on a wheelbarrow who looks very much like...
I haven't included her yet. I've got a special part for her.
An old lady wheeled in on a wheelbarrow who looks very much like every zombie they have encountered so far, but no one seems to care. Frank, an older gentleman who has been bitten, Nicole's father. Monica, crop top. Glenn,
Midriff.
old gay.
Yeah, literal old
Did
gay.
I miss anyone?
No,
Oh,
but yeah, another woman is too ill to walk. She's wheeled inside in a wheelbarrow. Genuinely, this entire sequence made me realise how terrible the Anna character is. And do you know what? Not even just Anna. How terrible the majority of these characters are. That woman is clearly a zombie. Like, you have seen so many zombies by this point. Yeah. You know what they look like. Why the fuck are you wheeling her inside? And unsurprisingly, she dies, reanimates, and attacks them.
She does.
So,
but Anna kills her quite quickly.
She does, yeah.
So Anna has these moments of like, yes, queen.
Yeah.
But then other moments like, why are you stupid?
Which is coming up now. I mean, after she's killed, the group determines that the disease is passed by bites. To which they realise that Frank has been bitten. So, obviously, you know, common sense, Michael's like, well, yeah, we've got to kill him, obviously. Anna says, you can't kill him, he's got a daughter. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure that old lady that you just fucking willed into the mall just to murder has an entire family. But there we go.
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of treated when Anna realizes that the bites are creating the zombies. She there's kind of like a eureka moment, and it's like, well, sure, has that not been established yet?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this has been going on a while. Has it not been on the news? Like, you know what I mean? They've been watching the news constantly. Like, surely she wasn't the first one ever bitten.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, what about her fucking husband that she forgot about?
Oh, yeah. I did say, I ain't gonna lie, I said Anna literally took 30 seconds to mourn her dead husband. Decided to be a bit of a badass. Also a bit thick, but a bit of a badass still.
Well, like, yeah. So she then storms over to Frank and is like, Frank, Michael's coming to shoot you.
His name was Rick.
No, Frank.
Who the fuck's Rick?
Frank, Michael's coming to shoot you. Everyone, you know, is logically saying, yeah, of course we need to shoot him.
This is what I don't get, is that Anna is so against the idea of killing him, despite her very accurate discovery.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to become a zombie. I mean, you took a nanosecond to kill the bitch in the wheelbarrow. Like, what was it? You gave your husband 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Maybe not even that of screen time in this. How long's this film?
108 minutes.
108-minute film. Less than a minute was dedicated to her mourning her husband. And yet she's having a meltdown because a guy she's only just met that happens to have a daughter that's like in her 20s. And I know that doesn't mean... But, you know... But I don't get it. I don't get the logic.
Your daughter's not going to get much screen time anyway, so what the fuck does it matter? Because this is a film. This isn't, you know...
She knows he's going to become a zombie.
Yeah.
Because she's just had a eureka moment and told everyone. It was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Frank and Nicole have a heartfelt goodbye. And it's as if they were on screen longer. Because if they were on screen longer than 5 minutes, I may have cared. Seriously, why is his death taking so long? Is one question I had. I have no idea who he is.
His death is fucking hilarious because Ken, if you see him preparing to shoot him, Michael goes back to Anna and she's like, "Oh my god, Michael, I'm so glad you didn't do it." Next minute, all you hear is a fucking gunshot. Followed by Richard Cheese's swing time cover of Down with the Sickness by Disturbed. I mean, that is some good editing right there, whoever was in charge of that.
Can we get that done, but with the Curb Your Enthusiasm music? Yeah, that's camp. The wanky crooner version of Disturbed's Get Down with the Sickness plays over a montage. So, do you remember the montage in the original film?
Yeah.
Where they were enjoying the spoils of Monroeville Mall. And it was a fun moment. It humanized the characters. But also in the back of our minds, we're thinking, well, none of this means anything anymore. You know, very interesting and played into, you know, the themes of capitalism and commercialism. Yeah. Fantastic. What we get in this little montage is Steve and Monica shagging, Glenn trying on high heels, then playing golf on the roof, hitting the zombies with the golf balls, and Kenneth playing chess with Andy via whiteboards, messages on the roof. So, is Andy stuck on the roof?
Yeah.
So, he happened to have a chessboard with him on the roof when he got stuck there?
Of course.
Okay. Just so we know.
And it ends with Glenn telling CJ and Bart a story of how he knew he was gay, which CJ hates to great hilarity.
Yeah.
I really felt this is absolutely played for laughs about that Glenn's gay. And we already know CJ's homophobic.
How do we know CJ's homophobic?
Because him and Bart were dropping F slurs earlier on.
Well,
Bart did, but come on. They're pretty much the same character.
But yeah, it's...
Well, we know now.
I'm just not sure where the comedy lies in this. The idea that these two guys have been locked up, but to add extra punishment, they have to hear about Glenn having a crush on a man.
Yeah.
Also, not knowing Glenn as a character, he comes across a bit weird. And Glenn comes across a bit weird.
Yeah, it's not the representation we want.
It's really not the representation we want. It comes across a little creepy. Like, Glenn's a little creepy.
Yeah.
And I feel like him trying on high heels was also played for laughs.
Yeah.
And yeah, I understand 2004, you know, we're best part of 20 years removed. It was a different time. But I watched the film in 2022 to tell you my opinion. And my opinion is that's shitty and it's shitty representation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Especially when it didn't need to be in there as well. Like we've already said, it didn't need as many characters. We especially didn't need this. And
we ask for representation, but we should specify we ask for the right representation.
Yeah, this is definitely gay.
Sometimes it's not enough. Has any DC character been gay?
I feel like we had gay characters in the Suicide Squad. If so, it's James Gunn redeeming himself.
We have in Marvel, haven't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting
that one guy.
No, come on. You know we've come further than that now.
Love that guy. Love it.
Not the director playing that character.
It's the way he said, and a slight tangent, but it's the way he said, I felt like I had to play this character. What? You mentioned your fucking husband in passing, and Captain America tries his hardest not to be homophobic.
True. Anyway,
And then you dub it in countries
Okay.
where being gay is illegal.
Well, She-Hulk being outrageously gay is made up for that. So,
who's openly and expressly gay in She-Hulk?
She-Hulk's friend. But also,
one sentence
you
you
can be gay by
concur
tone. Okay, we are not being those people. We are not supporting the toxic fanboys and giving them another thing to go by. We support She-Hulk. We love She-Hulk.
We do. I do love She-Hulk.
And it is gay in tone.
But Marvel have a long way to go. Disney has a long way to go. Okay. Like Cassie.
We were talking about someone who... Oh, shit. No, James Gunn is with Marvel as well. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Moving on.
Sorry, I do apologise. It was a slight tangent, but I felt like it needed to be said.
Either way, in cinema as a whole, we have come a long way since having creepy gay characters trying on high heels for laughs. Thankfully.
Yes.
Thankfully. But yeah, it's classic gay written by dude bro straight guys. Really.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. When the power goes out, a few of the survivors go to the park.
What about Michael's story?
Who gives a shit?
So Glenn gives a hilarious story about his first gay crush. Michael tells everyone about him being a really shit husband and his seemingly dead daughter, because we need to force some bonding moments and character development because we have too many characters.
Yeah, and because we can't have Anna be a strong female lead without a romantic connection. Lord forbid. Yeah, the power goes out. A few of the survivors go to the parking garage to activate the emergency generator.
Well, it's the lads, isn't it?
The lads go.
Whenever anything actiony or anything needs investigating, it's the lads that go.
Yeah. They find a friendly dog who is adopted by Nicole and named Chips.
Lovely.
That is lovely, actually. Chips is my favourite character in the film. Zombies kill Bart, forcing the others to cover them in gasoline and set them ablaze.
Yeah, very exciting.
Meanwhile, in what I remember at the time being a shocking series of events, the big thing that everyone spoke about this film, Luda is tied up by Andre. She dies before giving birth.
So she's going into labour,
Yeah.
but she dies before being able to give birth.
Yeah. And then Norma goes to check on them, see if they need any more blankets and stuff. Inexplicitly, Norma walks up to their little area they're staying in slow motion. She smokes a cig, drops it in slow motion, and then puts it out of her foot, all in slow motion.
I don't know why it was such an overly stylized shot.
One of the big things about Zack Snyder is his signature thing is slow-mo. Lots of slow-mo. This is one of his films that has...
necessary slow-mo.
Well, this has the least amount of it out of all of his films, which is shocking because there's so much of it. But yeah... Luda reanimates, Norma kills her, Andre snaps and exchanges gunfire with Norma. They kill each other whilst having a slow motion shootout. It looks so fucking cringy.
It is quite cringy.
But then the others, the big scene that everyone spoke about, the others find zombie baby in Andre's arms, delivered after Luda's death, which Anna reluctantly kills. Now, I seem to remember the scene going on longer when I was younger for some reason. I thought the baby got away and started attacking people. But CGI for the scene held up better than I thought it would.
Yeah, it was fine.
It didn't look terrible. But one thing that does look good in this film, speaking of effects, is the practical effects.
Yeah.
One of the strong points of the film. There's some really great gore and violence in here.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you know, the original was over the top gore and violence, so it's sticking with that. But yeah, some of the CGI isn't the best, but this one in particular actually was quite good. The scene was originally going to portray the baby killing the mother, but was altered due to its graphic nature.
Yeah, What annoyed me was when Andre said, "You want to kill my family?" And I'm just like, why are so many of these characters so stupid in this film? I mean, he's tied her up because he knows she's a zombie.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do? You're not gonna live happily ever after. And then you clearly have a zombie baby as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Anna shoots the zombie baby. She doesn't mourn that either, does she, really?
No,
She gets over that
yeah.
pretty quick. They then have a makeshift funeral for Andre, Luda, and the baby, where Glenn reveals that despite playing the piano in a church, he isn't religious. And he says, who could be? Well, this is a little bit of social commentary, and I think if any kind of social commentary comes through, it's the sort of hypocritical or nature of religion. I'm assuming Christianity from the Ken Foray character and through Glenn.
Yeah.
Who, you know, despite playing piano in a church, doesn't believe in God, because why would a God allow this to happen?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which I think is interesting. I think it is interesting, and you know, it could be explored a little more in the film if you didn't have so many fucking characters.
Yeah. They all decide to fight their way to the marina and travel on Steve's yacht, because of course he has a yacht, to an island on Lake Michigan.
Yeah, it stems from something that Kenneth says, which I quite liked. It's the idea that he rather die trying than sticking around waiting to die. He's also desperate to see his brother. This comes up a lot, where he's kind of had enough of everyone's shit and just wants to go see his brother.
Yeah. They reinforced 2 shuttle buses from the garage, wielding on a snowplow, attaching metal bars and chains, as well as stocking chainsaws, propane tanks, and road flares. To keep Andy from starving, the group, a completely unnecessary series of events, the group straps some food onto Chips and lowers him into the parking lot. The zombies have no interest in the dog, thankfully. Chips enters Andy's store safely, but a zombie follows and bites Andy. Now, pursuing Chips, Nicole crashes the delivery truck into the gun store, where she is trapped by a zombified Andy. Now, what do you think to that decision?
I think she's a dumb bitch.
Well, someone wouldn't agree with you.
Who?
I mean, a lot of viewers would agree with you and have questioned it over the years, but one pop superstar agrees. Christina Aguilera spoke to the actress who plays Nicole at the premiere and said, I would have gone after that dog too. I was really nervous about the dog, and when I saw that Nicole was going after the dog, I thought, that's it. That's real.
But wasn't the whole idea that the dog was safe?
Yeah.
That's why they sent the dog.
She wasn't paying attention until that point.
There we go. Did you miss the part before this, just to backtrack a little bit, where Anna and Michael snog?
No, I wasn't interested.
Because of forced romance is what this film needs.
Yeah, their forced romance really did not bother me in the slightest. I could not care less.
Yeah, Nicole goes. I didn't realize that Nicole had adopted the dog, because they literally had like 10 seconds of screen time together.
Yeah.
But yeah, Andy becomes a zombie, wiping blood on his message whiteboard instead of the usual chess moves. I did find that quite funny. That was quite funny when they were like, "What's his message?" and it's just a big smear of blood. If it was a big smear of shit, it would have been even funnier.
It's because they take it so seriously. That's what's funnier about that.
The group deciding to save Nicole despite her stupidity, and also not having known her very long. They really pick and choose who they become attached to, don't they?
They do.
They really, it's just, flip a coin and see if they care or not.
And what makes me laugh is the fact that this whole thing with the dog, again, pointless, because they could have drove the truck over to Andy.
Yeah.
They could have put him on the truck, then they could have gave him some food, and they all could have got away together. So why they did this whole thing with the dog? I feel like it was a scene that was meant to be earlier on in the film, and they just edited it a bit later in because it just didn't really make any sense.
Yeah. Steve is against putting himself in danger because he has replaced CJ as the film's token arsehole. The men, because only men are allowed to do the action parts. The men save their damsel in distress, blowing Andy's head off in the process. Tucker is grabbed by the zombies, and CJ puts him out of his misery because CJ now has a heart.
Yeah, we're meant to like CJ.
We're meant to like CJ, so he's gonna die.
All of his homophobia's out the window.
Steve was meant to open the door upon their return, but Anna has to when Steve goes AWOL. This doesn't actually mean anything as Steve is waiting at the shuttles, and it just feels like a really cheap tension because it's not dealt with. It's not brought up. It's like, oh, Steve's not there to open the door. Steve's not there to open the door. Oh my god, zombies coming, coming. Anna opens the door. They go to the shuttles, and Steve's just sat there like, where have you guys been?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, so Steve hasn't run off. Steve hasn't, you know, because he's the token asshole now. It's very cheap, I think. Yeah. Very cheap. We get lots of action and gore, which I really like. As the shuttles are surrounded by the zombies. I think this is a great visual. Yeah. Having the shuttle buses completely surrounded by zombies. I think, and it doesn't look they're not CGI, are they? No. Yeah, it looks great. I actually think this is a great visual, and you know, I'm assuming it was in all the trailers and on all the posters and such. Glenn loses so obviously because of all the zombies there, it's a bit of a rocky drive. Glenn, you may have forgotten about Glenn.
Gay Glenn
loses control of his chainsaw and kills Monica. Now, Monica, who the fuck is Monica?
The one who got railed.
Exactly. And that's all she did. And the shuttle drives erratically and crashes. Glenn is killed in the crash as well. Because, seriously, it feels like the screenwriter forgot Glenn and Monica were still alive. Like, have I killed everyone? I need to save a certain amount of people. Have I killed it? Oh shit, Glenn and Monica. Yeah, how can I kill both Glenn and Monica? It really just if you have to force these deaths, then you've got too many characters in your film. This film didn't need Monica.
No.
This film didn't need Glenn. This film didn't need Steve.
No.
There's a lot of characters this film did not need, but Glenn and Monica are top of that list. Fucking hell, what the fuck did Monica do? Steve tries to go it alone, so after the crash, but he literally lasts 3 seconds before being grabbed by a zombie.
Yeah,
he's gonna rush off and get in a car, and I'm assuming go to his boat by himself. But it's literally 3 seconds, like and that's the end of Steve. Well, it's not the end of Steve.
Anna
Excuse me. Yeah. Anna's killing everyone off. Anna shoots Steve after he becomes a zombie, and the remaining survivors make it to the harbour to board Steve's boat.
Yeah, she grabs his boat keys.
She does.
At the marina, though, the hero we all needed, CJ, sacrifices himself by detonating a propane tank so the others can escape. Oh, what a hero.
He does. He sacrifices himself.
Good old CJ.
Good old CJ. All is forgiven. Michael has been bitten, and so he stays on shore, and we get a really heartfelt goodbye from Anna.
I can fix you. I can help. I can help. Oh yeah, then why the fuck did you not fix anyone else?
Anyone else? Well, apparently she can't, and he stays on shore. And in a moment, it did make me laugh. Anna is literally staring a hole through him, and the camera's on Anna, and then Michael shoots himself. And she's just watching the whole, so it's not even like she turns around or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming she's been through a lot, nothing phases her anymore, kind of thing. But for me, it's just kind of funny. Like, why are you staring so intently? You know what's about to happen. But like Kenya, they sail away.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, big heartfelt goodbye to Michael. We're so glad that they survived. Really happy for them. The credits roll. You know, is there going to be a sequel? What's going to happen to these characters? And credits begin, intercut with Steve's home videos with a topless lady and video footage of our survivors finding a still alive zombie head in a cool box, which I thought was a really cool visual, and finding a zombie infested island where they're all killed.
Well, I mean, they get attacked.
Seemingly.
And the camcorder drops, and then it ends, so you don't really know whether they survived or not. So I feel like they were kind of leaving it open for a sequel.
But I don't understand, why would we have the moment of relief and Michael, a character we're meant to care about, having a heartfelt goodbye, to then give us these, end credit scenes where potentially all our survivors we've been rooting for have been killed.
I feel like
on Zombie Island,
like the opening 10 minutes. I feel like just to confirm, Adrian Barbeau is not in this film. And if you haven't seen Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island and witnessed her accent, please stop everything you're doing and watch it. I feel like this is, again, like the opening 10 minutes. I feel like this is another idea Zack Snyder had. I feel like he wanted to make a found footage zombie film. So it's like, oh, can I include this into this as well? Whilst I've got a big studio budget, yeah, go on, I'll throw it into the end credits. That's what it feels like. It's intertwined with Down with the Sickness by Disturbed.
Yes.
The actual version.
Was there a little reference to the Blair Witch Project? When the zombie's head falls?
Yeah, I think so.
Or was that a different film?
Maybe. Yeah. That's Dawn of the Dead.
That is Dawn of the Dead. Some decent gore and action is ruined completely by too many characters. I'm sorry, it's just too many characters. The makeshift family dynamic of the original is completely lost, and character development is non-existent.
Yeah.
Or forced. So it's either non-existent, we don't get any, or it's forced shit where they kind of remember that they have to make us feel for these people.
Yeah, it just kind of gets to the point where it just feels like any other. Now I say this, technically this film kickstarted a certain type of zombie trend.
What's
a lot
that?
Of the stylized action zombie films. That I feel like after this and after Shaun of the Dead, you had one of two things. You had films that wanted to be this, or you had films that wanted to be Shaun of the Dead. And I feel like, it did kickstart that trend, and it's a massive cult classic that people love to this very day. But watching it in 2022, it still feels kind of basic, even though it's the starter of that trend that's become so basic as it's gone on. It still feels really basic and generic.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't feel, and I know, it's been almost 20 years, but it really just, having watched so many horror films now, I realise what it does wrong.
Yeah.
Glaringly. Because I've watched so many zombie films and horror films that do it so much better. Do you know what? They should have made it a TV series and called it The Walking Dead. Oh wait, they did. They did do it. An ensemble cast in a TV series works.
Mm-hmm.
It don't in this film, and that's my biggest pet peeve.
On to the awards. We have Biggest Queen. I've put Norma. She was just there to smoke and look after everyone. Did not deserve that nasty end.
It's true. It's true. Good old Norma. Could have been a Karen. Wasn't. She was a good time gal.
Yeah.
Anna is a queen at times. But she's
writing her into a forced romance and giving her so many stupid lines of dialogue just kind of takes away from it.
Yeah, she should have been our main girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Biggest gasp. I've got watching our seemingly clever protagonist take the wheelbarrow woman inside, despite the fact that she's clearly going to turn into a zombie.
Yes, my biggest gasp was the wanky crooner cover Down with the Sickness.
Best dialogue, I've got if I put my foot up your ass, would that be a problem? From Kenneth.
Love the delivery on that one too.
I have an honourable mention now.
Right.
Whose wig is that? Mind if I borrow it? Chris Barker, Horror Culture Show podcast, when he misheard Kenneth saying rig as wig.
Yes.
Did you just say wig?
Yeah, you had to be there, but it was funny. My best dialogue, although I felt targeted, Ken Foray's delivery makes his speech memorable. I like the delivery, even though it was he was coming for me.
Yeah. That's camp. I've got Norma taking a puff on a cig, dropping it and putting it out in slow motion.
That is camp. That is camp. I have to say, because I appreciate it, Glenn trying on the high heels. Not from them writing perspective, but being like, yes, Glenn, you put on those heels. You do yours.
What did it do better than the original?
Nothing.
I have nothing.
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Yeah, I've got the original is flawless, of course, one of the greatest films ever made. The gore is probably just as good.
Yeah.
The effects are really good. But aside from that,
nothing.
What does it do worse than the original?
Everything.
Wow.
The
music video style, cinematography, the soundtrack, it's good, but it's no Goblin. Far too many characters, the dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, it really... And the thing is, it's not completely bottom of the barrel stuff.
No.
But it makes so many mistakes. And in a direct comparison to the original, it fumbles it. It really does.
Ratings, I give it 6 stereophonic songs out of 10.
Stereophonic. I give it 3... Oh, wait, no. 6.
Fucking hell,
Yeah,
okay, it wasn't
that's
that
a little
bad.
harsh. It's a little harsh, excuse me. I'm getting my Letterboxd ratings and my IMDb ratings confused. I wish they would be the same. I give it 6 wanky crooners out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash or basic? It's basic.
It's basic.
You're basic, babe. Sorry.
I'm sorry. It's basic.
Available, if you want to check it out, it's available on DVD, US Blu-ray, Netflix, and video on demand.
Are we not doing if you enjoyed this?
Got that at the end of the episode. Combined effort.
Oh, okay.
Why? Have you got specific ones?
Yeah, I have, actually.
What's your specific ones?
Well, if you enjoyed this, I would recommend, and we haven't mentioned it so far,
The Matrix.
Matrix?
That's slow motion.
Far superior zombie film from 2 years earlier, 28 Days Later.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually...
If you like running zombies... 28 Days
I was going to
Later.
say, there's a bit of trivia I forgot to read out, actually. Zack Snyder was massively inspired by 28 Days Later for this film, and that's why his zombies are runners.
Yes.
Where do you stand on the running or walking zombies?
Couldn't care less. Well, I mean, I couldn't. If it works in the context of the film, I really don't.
Yeah, I find the running ones more intimidating, especially after Train to Busan. But... the walking ones, I don't know, the way they move slowly is creepier.
Yeah, it is creepy. Could you imagine Night of the Living Dead with running zombies?
Oh, you have a running zombie.
Just like scooting around the...
You have one at the start of the film, the
when
first
he gets,
one, when he's running to the car.
The actor gets a little ahead of himself.
Yeah.
I don't think that was intentional.
Yeah. And now, for our third and final feature of the episode, we have Day of the Dead from 2008. Directed by Steve Miner, who you may know from previous podcast films, Halloween H2O, Friday the 13th Parts 2 and 3. He also did House, Lake Placid, and much more, including that racist Soul Man film that we mention every time.
Oh yeah, we do, yeah.
Yeah, written by Jeffrey Riddick, who did Final Destination, Tamara, Divine Cure, Return to the Cabin by the Lake, Good Samaritan, The Final Wish, Dead Awake, episodes of A Tale Dark and Grim, Samurai Rabbit, and Midnight Texas. Of course, based on the screenplay by Romero. Very loosely. Budget $12 million. Now, it was straight to video, but somehow it made $301.7 thousand worldwide somewhere, so maybe it had some limited screenings.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact, it's called Day of the Dead, but most of the film takes place at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just get to it. Let's get to who we know.
Yes. There's oh fuck, I fucked it up again, fuck's sake. Hey, I know you.
Mina Savari's in this. She plays Sarah. We know her from American Pie, American Beauty, American Horror Story, everything with American in the title. Now, all of these cast members, by the way, have something in common, and see if you can pick it out.
Ooh.
She's also in Loser, Domino, The Rage, Carrie 2, Slums of Beverly Hills, Rumor Has It, Beauty Shop, Sugar and Spice, Boy Meets World, I'll Be Home for Christmas, not the Disney one, The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, and more. Yeah, Mina Savari taking those roles where she can get.
Well, no, I suppose Day of the Dead would be a big deal. The lead, and Dawn of the Dead remake had done really well at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was straight to video.
Nick Cannon plays Salazar. He was in Drumline, Bobby, Love Don't Cost a Thing, Men in Black 2, Monster House, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Garfield, Chirac, Goal 2, Living the Dream. Do you remember the Goal series of films?
I certainly don't.
And Miracles Across 125th Street and much more.
Right. Okay.
Michael Welch plays Trevor. He was in
Nick Cannon. I think especially here in the UK, probably most famous for being married to Mariah Carey.
Oh, probably, yeah. Michael Welch plays Trevor. He was in the Twilight Saga, Star Trek.
Twilight Saga.
Star Trek Insurrection, Boy Meets Girl, All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, MFA, Bloodcraft, Grimm, Law and Order, CSI, A Christmas Hero, and much more. Michael Welch giving us that Justin Bieber hairstyle energy that we needed.
Who that was?
Around this time. I think it was just before Justin Bieber, but it was definitely that era where everyone had that sort of hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Anna Lynn McCord plays Nina. She was in Excision, Transporter 2, Scorned, Fired Up, Ugly Betty, King Knight, Titanic 666. The term that is, it's got to be a future podcast film. The Haunting of Molly Hartley, Legends of Tomorrow, Dancing Through Christmas, and Felice Navidad with dads in capital letters.
Oh, I see.
Get it? It's about someone's dad and lots more. Did you get the theme?
Christmas.
They're all in shitty Hallmark Christmas films.
Are they all Hallmark Christmas films?
That style, at the very least, yeah.
So all ones that you now on your watch list.
Of course. And we haven't really got a lot to say about the characters because there's not a lot to say about the characters.
No.
Yeah. It's time for our third feature presentation.
What the hell is happening to these people?
Nowhere to run.
No one's gonna be killed.
No place to hide. Today is...
We got company.
the Day of the Dead.
Someone here is infected. What are we gonna do?
I'm not gonna die here.
Mina Savari, Nick Cannon, and Vin Rames.
Those things are everywhere.
Day of the Dead.
Spoiler alert, this one...
The question, what do you know Mina Savari for?
American Pie.
American Pie.
Yeah.
So when you think Mina Savara, you think Heather.
Yeah.
Is it Heather?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Why is yours American Beauty?
Yeah. Or the Wheatus.
Yeah, Teenage Dirtbag.
Music video.
As a spoiler alert off the bat, this is the worst one.
Oh yeah, do you know what? I'm just gonna say it. This is one of the worst films in general I've ever watched.
It's awful. It really is so fucking bad. I watched this when it first came out, and hyped from Dawn of the Dead. I was like, okay, Day of the Dead. Again, hadn't seen the original. Watched this, and even back then, when my taste was a little more questionable, it was fucking abysmal. All I remembered was DJ because it reminded me of The Fog. The fact that someone was stuck in a radio station, and the ending, which I have a lot to say about the ending when we get to it. But we start with
What year was Land of the Dead?
Land of the Dead was around this time. I think it was 2005. Now, this is that's an interesting topic, actually. Around this time, George Romero brought his own second trilogy of the Dead out. It's sequels of the Dead, or what I don't know what the official term is for it. I think the whole thing is the Saga of the Dead. They're not linked, but they're all sequels.
Yeah.
So we had Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and Survival of the Dead, all around this time. So why they thought a Day of the Dead remake was even necessary when Romero was still releasing zombie films himself is a different story. Especially when it doesn't even try and be a remake of Day of the Dead. This has like no connection aside from character names, and 10 minutes set in a bunker. This has no connections to the original. No, that's
also has no connection whatsoever to Dawn of the Dead remake.
No. I don't mind a remake doing its own thing, but don't just do a copy and paste of every other zombie film being made around that time. Because this is a copy and paste of what Dawn of the Dead was trying to do. That specific style. This is one of the films I was saying it's just a rip-off.
It's doing its own thing, but it's doing it terribly.
Yeah.
And it's trying to mark it off of the Day of the Dead name.
Mm-hmm.
By being incredibly shit.
Yeah.
And that makes it even shittier.
Yeah. Two teen couples, including Trevor Bowman and Nina.
Couple of couples.
Making out in an abandoned warehouse in Colorado. Whilst at the same time, military roadblocks seal the city off for a 24-hour quarantine exercise. We have the token racist guy. We know this because we're introduced to Vin Grames as Captain Rhodes talking to him. And as he's talking to him, the racist guy is like, "You can't do this. We're in America. Who gave you these orders?" But then when Mina Savara starts talking to him, he's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, love. I know you're white, but, we're just trying to get past."
She also knows his wife as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they went to school together. So she's Army Officer Sarah Bowman, also known as Sarah Cross, also known as Sarah Crossbowman. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah. We're introduced to DJ Paul, who's been observed by a soldier and threatens to put Celine Dion on if he doesn't tell him what's going on. Which makes even less sense when the soldier doesn't tell him what's going on, so he then puts on an Axie rock song instead.
I'd be like, I ain't telling you for
Bitch,
all.
put that Celine Dion.
Put that Celine Dion song on.
Corporal Sarah Bowman leaves her barricade and drives with Private Bud Crane to visit her sick mother. She does this after Bud and his friends are like, "Oh yeah, oh lads, oh she's a bit of alright, oh cracky pair on her." Oh. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is just like straight away, "Oh, she's a woman in the army. Oh yeah, we've got to sexualize. Oh yeah, she's fit." Ooh.
Yeah, it's about not taking it seriously, but it's something that's not dealt with fully in the film.
No,
so
of course not.
Seen this done better.
Trevor and Nina, are caught making out on the sofa when she gets home. Trevor being her brother. And she says to Nina, she's like, "Hey Nina, does your dad still teach at Sunday school?"
It's true. Did you miss the first kill of the film?
Did I?
In the woods.
Oh, in the woods.
So the girl, I don't know her name. I don't think her name was given, but Nina and Trevor's friend, the other couple, she got left in the woods, chased by a zombie, and killed off screen. This is Day of the Dead, a remake of Day of the Dead, and your first kill is off screen.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
This is a remake of Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And your first kill is off screen.
Yeah, and her belly button gets thrown off into the
is that what that was?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So they find out that the local populace got infected by an influenza-like virus, and that their friend Kyle gushed blood from the nose that morning. They tell Sarah. Sarah and Bud head to Kyle's house after Sarah visits her mum, who looks like she's on death's door. Sarah and Bud head to Kyle's house to investigate and uncover his parents' mauled corpses.
Yeah, they're the kind of corpses you only see in films where they manage to stay in one place for a very long time until someone goes ever so slightly close to them and they suddenly come alive and jump out at them. Yeah. My favourite kind of cinematic
again,
corpse.
you know, they're already like that when she gets there. More stuff that is off screen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She radios Captain Rhodes about the situation, heads home to bring her family and Nina to the medical centre. When they get there, in a bizarre series of events, Bud starts talking to Sarah's mother about Sarah. It's like, oh my god, she's so hot. Like, you fucking kidding me? Her mother looks like she's about to die at any second, and you were telling her how hot her daughter is. And I know I exaggerate for comedic effect lots on this podcast, but he literally says she's so hot. The exact words.
He does. You don't exaggerate.
Oh, I want to get in your daughter's pants. Oh, fucking bit of all right. As the CDC's Dr. Logan questions Sarah in the crowded hospital, the infected become catatonic and reanimate as zombies.
Yeah, it's literally the hospital is jam-packed with coughing patients, which obviously now in 2022, during COVID times, is very on the nose. This is where people start referring to Sarah as Corporal Cross. So it's Corporal Cross in the film, Sarah Cross. On Wikipedia, it tells me that her actual name is Sarah Cross Bowman, but in the credits, she's just Sarah Bowman.
Yeah. Yeah, I had done a Sarah
Bowman. If you can't get shit like that together, there's no hope. Yeah. If you can't be consistent with a fucking name of your main character, then you're doomed from the get-go.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It's true.
Did you... Well, we meet Nina's dad, who has flu-like symptoms, and we have a really cracking CGI view of the inside of his body. I don't know what to do. Is it transforming?
Transforming into a zombie. Yeah. Something we all needed.
Yes. So as Nina's dad becomes a zombie, everyone else becomes a zombie at exactly the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So, despite Kyle becoming a zombie much earlier and killing his parents, every single other person who has caught this virus suddenly becomes a zombie. Because you haven't seen any on the street so far. You ain't seen any in the hospital. But, like, that.
Yeah.
Like, at 1 second, everything's fine. The next second, everyone who's going to ever become a zombie becomes a zombie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
He rips off half of his wife's face, which looks good. Only slight nice thing I could say about this film is practical effects are okay.
The face looks good, or the gore looks good.
The gore looks good. I mean, the thing is, you know, you're remaking a film that has some of the greatest practical effects ever in horror history.
Yeah.
I'll stand by that. Tom Savini really worked his magic. Some of his best work is in the original, which makes the off-screen stuff that we get a lot in this really painful. Especially when you've got practical effects available on set, clearly. Yeah. You know, you can do shit like this, you could do other stuff on screen.
It's rude.
As carnage ensues, Nina and Trevor seek refuge at the local radio station. And poor Captain Rhodes, Ving Rhames... Her name's Nina.
Her name's not Nina.
Trevor's girlfriend's name's Nina. We've literally just spoke about her parents.
Her name's Kate.
No, it's Nina.
Oh, shit.
What the fuck? Who the fuck's Kate?
I got her name as Kate for the whole thing. Oh, crud. Okay.
Anyway, Captain Rhodes, Ving Rhames, Captain Rhodes is fucking dead.
He's dead. He's a goner.
He's dead. I mean, Ving Rhames must have been expensive in 2008 because it's quite early on. But yeah, he's bitten.
Couldn't be bothered, could he?
I don't blame him. He barely has any dialogue, hardly any screen time in this. There's no point in being in it at all. Dr. Logan, Sarah, and Bud rush to a storage room, but Bud drops the car keys before entering. And Dr. Logan says, "Great, a driver without keys and a soldier without bullets. It must be my fucking birthday."
I don't know where his attitudes come from. It's a little confusing. It's very, very forced.
It is.
To make him the villain of the piece.
Yeah. Again, you know, you're following on from a film that had one of the greatest non-deformed, non-zombie, non-masked villain in horror history. Like, the guy in the original fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Because he was really well written.
But it wasn't forced.
No. Nina and Trevor meet up with the couple from the roadblock from earlier, the racist guy and his wife. They're at the radio station. They mention they saw Sarah at the roadblock. And the wife, she coughs and says, "My cough. I had it before this. I'm not sick."
Well, he blames Sarah for his daughter's death.
Does he?
Yeah. He said, "Your sister, you know, told us to go to such a place and not to go to the hospital, and my daughter died, so it's her fault." And it's never mentioned or dealt with afterwards.
Sarah and Bud resolve to reach the room that Captain Rhodes is mauled in through the air ducts to retrieve his keys.
To receive his keys?
To retrieve his keys. When they land on the floor, Private Salazar arrives, and during their return to the storeroom, Rhodes eats his own eyeball for some reason.
Yeah.
Zombies
have never done that.
Rises to pursue them and bites Bud's hand as he replaces the ceiling grill. Now,
did you not notice how incredibly strong Sarah was?
Yeah.
Like, to lift, now, understand, he was missing his leg, so I understand that's a little weight off. But Ving Rhames is a big man, and she's there, like, lifting him with her legs as she's crawling through a vent that has nothing to grip hold of.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. I'm sorry, with all due respect to Mina Savari.
Yeah.
I don't think any of the fellas could have done that.
Well, she was punching zombies before this, so she could do a lot.
Well, no, she's in the army. You know.
Some great dialogue now, because we have the moment we have in all these films where someone that we supposedly like has been bitten, and the moral ambiguity is there as to whether or not they should be shot, even though it's obvious they should be because they're going to become a zombie. So Salazar is like, he's like, oh, well, you saw what happened to Rhodes when he was bitten by one of those things and he wants to shoot him. Mia Zavari throws fucking bleach on the bite and says, I put bleach on it! And then Dr. Logan one-ups her and says, Rhodes was bitten by many of those things. He was only bitten by one. Plus, bleach solves everything.
Yeah.
Bleach solves everything.
99 kills 99.9% of bacteria.
Apparently, including COVID, there was a variant of COVID on bleach. Do you remember?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not get into.
No one cares.
But they do care. But it's always the coronavirus.
Not when they're listening to a remix of the Dead episode.
That kind of virus, it's always existed. So it's always been on like Dettol bottles and bleach bottles and shit.
Yeah. But do you remember when it was top banter for everyone when it first happened?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the UK.
Or when you asked for a bottle of Corona, hold the virus.
Yeah. Anyway, from shit jokes to shit film, the
say...
group jumps from the window into the undead-infested parking lot. The bleach must have actually worked miracles because he turns into a zombie that's different from everyone else. It's not like the other girls. So yeah, I blame the bleach.
Wait, you blame the bleach for that?
Yeah, not that he's a vegetarian.
It's because he's vegetarian.
Supposedly. It's the bleach. Dr. Logan deliberately pushes a woman towards a zombie and departs in a vehicle, whilst the remaining members get in their car after setting some zombies on some terrible CGI fire.
Oh my god, the CGI fire in this film is disgraceful. Mm-hmm. It's awful. Why is there so much of it if they can't get it right?
They leave Bud in the car, tied up, but when they come back, he's transformed. And Sarah insists he's harmless because he's a vegetarian and shouldn't be shot. So, of course, he's a play on Bub from the original. Again, one of the most iconic zombies of all time. This is a play on that. This is supposed to be him. Not even close.
No.
Not even close. They do not understand why everyone loved that zombie so much.
So the idea is that Bud, in the remake, is reluctant. Well, he's not trying to bite any of them, which is partly either true or not, partly explained by Sarah. It's because he's a vegetarian, so he doesn't eat meat, but also because maybe he's kept more of his, human side than the other zombies, so he recognizes them. Yeah. It's never really explained why. They just wanted to do a reference to the original film.
Yeah.
Just shoehorn this fucking Bud character in.
Meanwhile, they hear Trevor over the radio and dash to his location. They collect the couple and attempt to exit the city, but collide near the abandoned warehouse. And then we finally, an hour and 15 minutes into the film...
Did we miss the bit where the DJ dies?
Oh shit, I did, yeah. DJ Paul. What happened to DJ Paul? I can't even remember. We watched it fucking earlier and I can't remember what happened.
Were you getting a bit ahead of yourself?
Apparently.
So, someone at the radio station has a nosebleed, and Nina. I literally have her down as Kate for all my notes. Nina threatens the DJ and the weird couple to find out who it was because she finds a bloody tissue in the bin. Turns out it was the DJ who had the nosebleed because his eyes go white, and Kate, fucking hell, Nina. I've got this on my iPad, so I can't change it. Nina stabs him in the head. Then it turns out that the couple, who I found out at this point, right before they die, are called Mr. and Mrs. Leitner.
Are they?
Leitner, yeah. Turns out Mrs. Leitner was the one with the nosebleed. And she munches on her husband before attacking Nina. Now Nina gives us, I thought, a little bit of Buffy the Vampire Slayer energy.
It's very kind.
It was very kind. Mainly because it looks like it was filmed as an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer 10 years.
Very kind.
10 years previous.
Okay, the whole thing looks like it's a film by the Asylum. Like the cheap knockoff.
Yeah, I'm talking early Buffy.
Okay.
So yeah, so Mrs. Lightning ends up being pushed out the window, and that's when Sarah turns up because she's heard Trevor over the radio and goes to save him. What she doesn't... I shouldn't laugh. What she also does is run over their mother, who's come to see them, right in front of Trevor's eyes.
I can't believe I missed that.
Do you miss that?
No, I saw it happen, but I forgot to put it in my notes.
So
fucking
the
bored.
mum hears Trevor, a zombie mum. She's a zombie. She hears Trevor over the radio, and she for some reason knows where the radio station is, and goes, and it gets run over right in front of it by her sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
It was, yeah. Even though I did completely forget about it.
It's shit. That's bordering on entertaining trash.
Yeah.
For a brief second.
Yeah, they go to the bunker and encounter Dr. Logan, who divulges his involvement in the government project under Dr. Engel. Engel intended to produce a bioweapon to paralyze enemy combatants by temporarily affecting the nervous system, but the virus mutated, zombifying the scientists.
I'm sorry, you got all that shit down, but you didn't get the mum being ran over.
This is the explanation of the plot of the film.
Fucking hell.
This is the plot of the film here.
Yeah, an hour and 15 minutes in.
As the group traverses the bunker, Dr. Engel stealthily kills Logan. Confusing, because Dr. Engel and Logan... I'm pretty sure it was Dr. Engel, the one on the screen, that looked exactly like Dr. Logan.
Oh my god,
like, he looked
so
identical.
Confusing.
He could have been played by the same character.
Oh, same actor.
Same actor.
Yeah, so all this sort of backstory is on a computer screen, and it looks like this Dr. Logan. So it's like, oh, this is Dr. Logan explaining. He's recorded something and they found it because he was about to escape, blah, blah, blah. And then he turns into a zombie. I was like, what the fuck's going on here? He's like right there. Why would you have actors that look so similar do that? It's fucking confusing.
You know how in Dawn of the Dead, the Glenn and Monica characters, you thought that they got to the end and they were like, oh shit, we need to include them. Forgot about them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with this, they got to like an hour and 10, an hour and 15 minutes in, like, oh shit, we're remaking Day of the Dead. Fuck. Quickly, bunker, quickly. Exposition, doctors, scientists. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. That'll do.
This is the confusing part because it can't be a budgetary thing, because obviously the bunker set would have been a lot cheaper than all the other sets.
It looks shit anyway.
Yeah, but they could have given a bit more money to it.
Yeah.
Because it was, as I've described in my notes, it looks fucking awful. It's like someone's tried to recreate the Crystal Maze set at home. It looks like it's made of cardboard. It's awful. What I also think they didn't realize is that, oh shit, we need to explain all this, but we need someone to explain it. But then we need to kill them straight away. So after Dr. Logan and all this bullshit happens, they're literally just walking down the corridor, and a zombie from the ceiling snatches Dr. Logan, eats his skin and shit really quickly from his chest, and then drops him back down, and no one gives a shit. Like literally no. They're like, oh no, hell, what's happened here? But the zombie is like on the ceiling.
Yeah.
So if it's gonna pick up Dr. Logan, why is no one else? Why is no one trying to shoot this ceiling zombie?
It's true.
I was like, oh my god.
Salazar sacrificed himself to save Sarah.
Yeah.
Who then reunites with Trevor and Nina. I meant to because we had some character development. She reunites with Trevor and Nina. They find a bundle of gas cylinders.
Did you miss the bit where Bud is eaten by a load of zombies?
I was actually thinking, what happened to Bud? I did miss that. Like, in my notes, and I missed it in the film.
So he goes missing at the beginning. I thought he was eaten, but apparently not. But he returns and saves Sarah by shooting the scientist zombie dude.
Oh, okay.
And then he has his head ripped off by the zombies.
Oh, you made that sound way more exciting.
Yeah, it's obviously a reference to the original.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, so they find some gas cylinders and modify them into flamethrowers. Whilst Sarah lures the zombie crowd, Dr. Engel descends from the ceiling and grabs her, but Bud shoots at him.
Yeah, I literally just said that.
Oh, Bud, yeah. No, you did. I did get it in my notes. Wait, I can't remember. Oh my god, we literally watched this film a few hours ago and I cannot remember any of this shit.
There is, I have to say, there was a point where I just...
I thought Bud was Trevor for a second.
I genuinely don't care.
Yeah, so I hadn't got to it yet. Give me a chance.
But that happened before Salazar.
Well, then...
Oh, no, it didn't. Oh, who fucking cares?
Sarah directs the undead to the cylinders.
Just get this shit over with.
Sarah directs the undead to the cylinders.
Good.
And they incinerate them.
Good.
The group sets out in Dr. Logan's car, and as they proceed towards the distance in a bizarre series of events, I promise you this is the truth. Watch the film. Don't watch the film. Skip to the end. Watch this. Does any... I mean, you can't answer me, but if you remember back to the old days of YouTube, there was that famous...
I remember, Gary.
Famous jump scare video. I think it was for Travel to Ireland, if I remember right, where you get to see the Irish countryside, nice little flute music playing, and then a zombie jumps out at you. It went viral. It must have been amongst some of the first viral videos. People reacting to it and everything. Iconic in a YouTube kind of way. They fucking reenact that here.
Basically.
And this is the only thing I remember from when I first watched it, is the car drives away, you're watching the characters drive away, and a zombie jumps from the side of the camera at the screen and fucking screams at the camera.
Yeah. So the radio...
What the fuck?
The thing is, I don't understand, is the radio is pretty much saying it's all over with.
Yeah.
Like, it's all been resolved.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy, because of the remakes and of George Romero's original trilogy, this is the only one that suggests everything is resolved at the end. Apart from that stupid zombie jump scare, this is the only one that suggests it's all over.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous. That's not what... This is not what the Living Dead films are about.
No. Absolute bullshit. The whole film is bullshit. I really...
It
don't know how they got it so wrong.
Genuinely, it's so awful. It was painful to watch. I stopped, you know, as you can probably tell by our confusion not too long ago, we both gave up. I don't care. I stopped caring. I didn't care about any of the characters.
Steve Miner directed Friday the 13th, 2 and 3, and Halloween H2O. Great sequels. So much fun. How the fuck did he get this so wrong? Like, seriously, it's Day of the Dead. Have the whole film in a bunker. It's fine. You have a concept there. You have a premise there set out for you already.
Yeah.
How did you get it so wrong?
I mean, the action's boring.
It is.
The gore ain't great.
No.
Too many off-screen kills. I don't care about the characters. I don't care.
You could have told me this was released by the Asylum and I'd believe you.
Yeah. It doesn't have the decency to be so bad it's good.
No.
It doesn't. It's just Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
It truly is so disappointing, especially when you compare it to the original.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous how they could just get it so wrong, and I don't think they can blame budget.
No,
because all the budget seemingly went on parts of the film that had nothing to do with the original.
also 12 million isn't that bad for a film like
No,
this.
not at
It's
all.
not really.
But
It's
this-
low, but it's not bad.
It's not, this isn't a remake. I don't look at this like it's a remake.
It's supposed to be.
It's
That's the intention.
Yeah, no,
Based on the work by George Romero,
I understand
apparently.
that, and it has its references, but to go that long before going to the bunker,
Mm-hmm.
it really doesn't feel like a remake.
No.
It like an homage, maybe, but
That
a
push.
straight up remake. It doesn't feel
No.
like it.
But even for bad films, we have awards, and Biggest Queen by default goes to Sarah. I mean, who else is it going to go to?
No one.
We'll give it to Sarah.
There's
It
no.
has to go to someone.
I think it happened with the Booker Prize once. No one gets it.
Biggest gasp.
The CGI.
I got Bud
And-
telling Sarah's mother how hot Sarah is while she's dying in a hospital waiting room.
That makes sense. Biggest gasp was the CGI and the set design.
Best-
I gasped.
Best dialogue. I got Bleach solves everything from Dr. Logan.
He's a vegetarian.
That's camp. At a push, Mina Savari punching a zombie in the face during a hospital scene.
That's camp. None of it. None of it. Doesn't even have the decency to have any campness.
Yeah. What did it do better than the original? Nothing.
Nothing at all.
And what did it do worse than the original? Everything.
Everything. It was so tedious, so boring. It genuinely was. If it was a trash, I love my trashy films. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone listening knows that.
Yeah.
This doesn't even have a decency to be trashy. It was fucking boring.
It's trash, but not the
Boring.
good kind
I
of trash.
switched off.
Ratings, I give it 1 problem-solving splash of bleach out of 10.
I just give it 1 out of 10. It doesn't even deserve anything. It doesn't deserve a little funny reference. It gets 1, literally 1 out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash or basic.
But the thing is, it's trash.
Yeah, I got trash.
But basic as well.
Yeah.
Which makes it so much worse.
Yeah.
This is genuinely one of the worst films we've covered on the podcast. I hated it. I really, really hated it. And yeah, there's a couple of times I laughed. But, I don't think I was meant to laugh. It was truly, truly awful. I hated it. It was a horrible experience.
If we haven't put you off and for some reason you want to watch it, it's available on DVD, Blu-ray, and video on demand.
Oh, you might love it. I'm not telling anyone not to go out and watch it, but just...
You can't say we recommend it.
No.
If you enjoyed any of these, I recommend checking out the original Trilogy of the Dead. But if you have already, which I hope you have...
You're joking.
If you have already, then I recommend the Return of the Living Dead films.
Ooh, yes. No, I already gave one for Dawn of the Dead. If you enjoyed Night of the Living Dead, the remake, I don't know what I recommend. What would you recommend?
I just gave my
Specifically for the remake.
Specifically for Night of the Living Dead remake. No, probably The Blob.
Oh, like
I've already done
Pet
that,
Cemetery
No.
has a kind of similar feel to it. That
Single white
early
female. If you like
90s.
haircuts like that.
If you like
single white
haircuts, yeah, I recommend Wilson Phillips. If you liked the Day of the Dead remake, then you're really gonna love Zombie 3. If we're talking Army...
Not House of the Dead.
No, if we're talking Army... Oh, God, House of the Dead, fucking hell. But if we're talking Army and zombies and such, I Zombie 3 is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, so that's what I recommend.
Well, let us know your thoughts at all of these. We're on social media, Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook and Instagram, and Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. I'm Deadite Gaz92 on Letterboxd, Gazmo205 on Instagram, and GazCruise92 on Twitter.
I'm Chris Barker823 on Instagram and Letterboxd.
Give us a rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, and like and follow on everything else. Give us a rating on Spotify. Next week, we bring you a double feature, continuing a series that we've been doing on and off. We're talking about Hellraiser Inferno and Hellraiser Hellseeker.
Nice.
Torture. Absolute torture.
Is it actually torture?
No, I think they're actually, any closing thoughts about all of the remakes? Best one, I mean, I don't really need to say, do it. It's Night of the Living Dead, of course.
Yeah, I think overall, obviously, Night of the Living Dead is the best of the remakes because it felt truer to the original, and it felt truer to more respectful to George Romero. And I know that he wrote the screenplay as well, but like Tom Savini, huge fan of the original film, good pals with George Romero.
Yeah.
It felt more respectful to the original, but then brought in some new elements to it. Whereas I feel like with Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, it took the basic idea but played it to a completely different crowd, which is, respectable. I'm not, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. It just, for Dawn of the Dead, didn't always work, and Day of the Dead did not work at all.
No. And we'll leave you with that. We'll see you same time, same place on Tuesday.
Bye.